Well, we are officially now underway in the second round. All series are underway after this night. Two more game ones on the tap tonight, beginning with the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll get to that game, but of course, the game that many of you are just joining us right now on the heels of the game that just went final a few moments ago. Of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the LA Lakers. And I want to start with the LA Lakers in this game, surprisingly enough. And I really have very little bad things to say about the Lakers tonight. They played, all things considered, a tremendous game in my estimation. They had a great game plan on tap for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Credit JJ Redick for that. I think old man LeBron James had perhaps one of the best games I personally have seen him play in years. Like a game to me, which as someone in me who is typically just critical of LeBron James, there's not much to take away in a negative capacity tonight about LeBron. 27 points, 12 of 17 shooting, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. He was only -6 tonight. And that I know that might sound a little tongue-in-cheek, saying only -6. But look, in a game that the Lakers did not win and lost by much more than 6 points, a -6 for the minus king LeBron looks pretty damn good to me. He was one of the better ones in that capacity. -4 for Jared Vanderbilt off the bench and -4 for DeAndre Ayton. I thought, quite frankly, not only did LeBron play well in this, Ayton, speaking of him, played remarkably well. I thought that he controlled the paint fairly well when he was in the game. And again, only a -4, 10 points and 11 rebounds for Ayton tonight. Rui Hachimura was really good. I thought 18 points for him, 7 of 13. Marcus Smart did not have his shot going tonight, only 4 of 15 for 12 points. But his defense really is as good as advertised. Former Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart. I hated the signing in the summer for the Lakers because I love Marcus Smart and I respect him so much, and I really didn't want him in Los Angeles. Why didn't the Denver Nuggets get Marcus Smart? Didn't it look like the Denver Nuggets could have used some Marcus Smart in these playoffs? Marcus Smart has been arguably the best defender in the postseason. His relative field goal percentage of his opponents is, I think I saw, was top 2 after the first round. And he head-to-head on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was terrific. The Lakers' team defensive philosophy on SGA was also quite good. All of that said, the Lakers still lose by 18 points. So in a game that was a 15.5-point line going in, which to see a double-digit line like that, like 15 points in a second-round series opener, is startling to say the least. But the Thunder cover it with their, again, like a C- game from them. I thought the Thunder overall pretty poor, truth be told. Specifically the league MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I know I am painted as a SGA hater, of which I am continually pushing back against that premise and rejecting that. But literally every time I watch the Thunder play, every time, my overwhelming takeaway is, my God, this defense is so good. The team defense, like there's like 7 or 8 absolute stud defensive specimens, which would be first or second team All-NBA if they were dispersed throughout the NBA. So like there's only 2 defensive, all defensive teams, first and second team, 10 players. I think the Thunder realistically, honestly do have like 7 of the best 10 defenders in the NBA on one team. It is so laughable, so ridiculous. The embarrassment of riches that this team has defensively. And that is always 100% my overwhelming takeaway when I watch the Oklahoma City Thunder. Secondarily, holy shit, this bench is amazing. Holy cow, this is a deep team. And then thirdly is SGA. Like, it's not hate. It's just me being realistic with what my takeaways are when I watch the Oklahoma City Thunder team. Does Shai have phenomenal games at times? Absolutely. Is he an incredibly efficient player from the perimeter, all-time historically efficient? Absolutely. Is he a clutch player? Does he make baskets when needed down the stretch? Absolutely. But it's such an easy ask. It is relatively such an easy deal that he has. The best deal that I have ever seen, maybe not ever, but of this century, the best deal any superstar player has had. Yo, bro, we're going to surround you by like 7 or 8 of the best defenders in the entire league. We're going to give you like 4 starters on the bench that could start anywhere else. And all you have to do is score 30 efficiently. Like, it's easy. For an elite offensive player in today's NBA, that is a relatively easy ask. So, like, is SGA a top 3 player? 100%. Is he vying for the title of best player on earth if he goes through the remainder of this playoff run and wins an NBA championship? I believe he is. But for me to sit back and be in awe of this guy, I just simply am not. And he certainly isn't the most valuable player. It's just not a most valuable player ask. And tonight, again, kind of just bared it out for me. 18 points for him, 8 of 15 from the field, 6 assists, 7 turnovers, and 3 rebounds. 18, 6, and 3 with 7 turnovers on 8 of 15. Meh, it's all right. It's okay. I mean, Chet Holmgren was good, 24 points, 9 of 17. Look, he was plus 10, SGA plus 9. The bench, plus 11, Jalen Williams off the bench. Alex Caruso plus 15. Isaiah Joe plus 11. Casey Wallace plus 11. That is the story. Like, SGA, when the third quarter ended and SGA went to the bench, it was a 12-point game. When SGA stepped back on the floor with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it was a 17-point game. Again, it's just an easy ask. Like, just go ahead and get whatever lead you get with the starters and then go to the bench, and the lead will be bigger than when you went to the bench. Most star players around the NBA are like, oh, gee, if I get my team a 5-point lead, could they maybe not be down 5, 6, 7 by the time I get back on the game for like a 4 or 5 minute rest? SGA doesn't have to worry about any of that. He doesn't realistically have to worry about defending. I pointed it out in a video I did earlier today that SGA's net defensive rating this year in the playoffs was plus 16 for the first round. Nikola Jokic was plus 110. The Denver Nuggets were 6 points better defensively in their series than the Oklahoma City Thunder were with Shea on the floor. And I'm saying the Denver Nuggets were better with Nikola Jokic on the floor. 6 points better with Jokic on the floor than the Thunder were in their first round series with SGA. Nikola Jokic had the best net rating on his team. SGA was tied with 2 other players for the 8th worst net rating on his team. Easiest deal in all of the NBA. Easiest deal any superstar has ever had. This guy is going to buzzsaw himself to another championship on the back of a historic defense and a crazily deep team. Look, the Lakers did not have Luka Doncic tonight. Does not look good for his return, by the way. I'm hearing things like slow playing, uncertain timetable, feeling it out. Basically, can the Lakers split or look remotely competitive in games 1 and 2? If so, maybe they rush him back for 3 or 4. Otherwise, if the Thunder just trounce the Lakers and go up 0-2, likely, or go down 0-2, likely Luka's season is over. So you got to factor that in. No Luka Doncic. And look, but for the Thunder, no J-Dub, no Jalen Williams. Their second or third best player. Last year, an all-star, all-NBA defense. Not in the lineup. So, yes, the Lakers are missing their best player. Yes, the Thunder are missing their second best player, arguably. And again, SGA plays a C- game for him. They play a C game, and they still, when the smoke clears and the dust settles in this game, 108-90. The Lakers, 90 points. And they shot 42%. Relatively good job, I thought. Look, the Lakers only, again, I know this is going to sound like a backhanded kind of a compliment. The Lakers only had 17 turnovers. I thought they dealt with the pressure fairly well by the Thunder. On the other end, sloppy game for the Thunder, 14 turnovers for them, uncharacteristic 14 turnovers for them. They shot 49% from the field, 43% from the three-point line. I mean, there's just not much to say about this Thunder team, quite frankly. Like I said, after every time I went live last year during the playoffs, I talked about it. You can play as close to a perfect game as you want for 20 minutes, for 27 minutes, for 33 minutes. If you blink and if you lose focus for like a 3-minute span of time in the game, you're down 17 points. Like you could play a perfect game and it could be a 4 or 5 point game. And then wham, bam, what the F just happened 2.5 minutes later, like 4 turnovers and it's 17 now somehow. That is just how good the Thunder are, how just immensely too big to fail this team is. The margin for difficulty is so relatively low for them. Like they have such a wide margin and gap where they could play so relatively awful for them and still easily sleepwalk their way to wins, which is precisely what happened tonight. Also, what happened tonight was Austin Reeves, guys, I got to be honest with you, is playing himself out of a ton of money right now. And like this is why this is the cautionary tale. This is why Ayo Dosunmu will likely not be seen in that Minnesota series against the San Antonio Spurs. Remember, Ayo Dosunmu exploded in the series against the Denver Nuggets. He had 43 points off the bench one game on 13 of 17 shooting. In that series, he was leading the Timberwolves in scoring 21 points per game on crazy efficiency splits, and then sat out game 6, a surprise deactivation late, right before tip-off with calf soreness. And then he did not play in game 1 of this series against San Antonio, and I've heard no expectation for his return. And let Austin Reeves serve as a sterling example as to why you will not be seeing Ayo Dosunmu, because he is in a contract year right now, as is Austin Reeves. Both of them making not a lot of money. I'm not quite certain what Reeves is making. I think it's $13 million, which, remember, way back when, at the beginning of this season, Austin Reeves began the year averaging like 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists per game or something like that in the first 2 weeks. And he looked like an all-star, all-NBA, and like he was going to make $50 million a year next season. He then has a myriad of injuries throughout the season, gets hurt in that April 2nd woodshed beatdown by the Thunder, the same game in which Luka Doncic picked up that grade 2 hamstring strain. AR got that grade 2 oblique strain, and many thought he was out maybe possibly longer than Luka. Yet he rushes his way back to play in last series. He looked terrible last series, and now he's in the games that he played, I should say. And now he comes out tonight with them missing Luka, with them playing basically a perfect game plan, with them doing a great job against SGA, with LeBron playing a great game, with Rui and Ayton and Smart playing good games. And Austin Reeves, 8 points on 3 of 16 shooting, 0 of 5 from the 3-point line. This is why we will not see Ayo Dosunmu. This is why a lot of players just don't come back and sit out, because they don't want to cost themselves money. Like Austin Reeves, clearly not right in my estimation. Not right physically, doesn't have the flow or like his basketball legs under him after missing 5 weeks to end the season and into the first round of the playoffs. Credit to him for wanting to get back out on the court. Credit to him. But he could be costing himself a lot of money right now because he's looking terrible now in the time that we've seen him in this postseason. And if it doesn't get any better, and this is the way the Lakers go out, playing moderately, feasibly competitive without Luka and Austin Reeves playing like this, I'm not so certain he's going to get that mega deal we were anticipating coming into this postseason, specifically with the way that the season began for Austin Reeves. So it will be interesting to see how he shakes off this performance. Again, I want to see his last couple games. So again, 4-2 was his last game. Then he came back 429, and he shot 25% from the field in that first game back. And then he had 15 points in the closeout against Houston. Not really needed in that game. They won by 20. And then tonight, 3 of 16 for 8 points. Just an incredibly terrible look for Austin Reeves. And why, again, many players in contract years don't want to come back and risk their money So AR, look, hasn't made a great amount of money in the NBA. It was expected that he was going to get some behemoth of a contract from LA. But now who knows? That will be an interesting situation to keep tabs on throughout this postseason once the Lakers season ultimately does come to an end, which I think, guys, is just a mere formality at this point. As well as they play tonight, still lose by nearly 20, still can't even cover a 15, a laughable joke of a line of minus 15.5 for OKC. The Lakers, even in a good night for them and a C night for the Thunder, still can't even cover that line. In the other game tonight, the early game, Detroit, maybe a little sigh of relief from getting out of that 1-8 series where they were down 3-1. And then they were down 24 points in game 6 on the road to get absolutely closed out. And in the last 6 quarters, the Pistons played lights out defensively. I think a little sigh of relief in that first quarter tonight against the Cavs. They were all over Cleveland early, 37-21 Detroit, and it was all rolling early for them. But credit to Cleveland, they came back. They came all the way back. It was at one point 96-93 late-ish in the fourth quarter, like midpoint of the fourth quarter, and Detroit closed on a nice little run there to get the win, 111-101. So a nice start for the Detroit Pistons to go up 1-0 in that best of 7 in the East semis. But again, a pretty limited offensive output by the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham, 23 points tonight, 7 assists, and just 6 of 19 shooting for him. So I still think a little light the offensive support around Cade Cunningham, and in particular the Pistons just offensively challenged at times. They shot 44% from the field tonight, 38% from the three-point line. But again, this is the best defense in the NBA in the playoffs. It was the second best defense in the regular season to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they get the job done. Nobody played particularly well for the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. The two stars, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. Donovan Mitchell, 23 points, 9 of 19. Jimbo Harden, 22 points, 6 of 15, only 1 of 7 from the three-point line, 7 turnovers. So more turnovers. This is a stat that people have been watching on the interwebs. This was the 45th game in James Harden's career where he has had the same number or more turnovers than field goals made in a game. 45th time, which breaks down to roughly about 1/4 of his playoff career. So in about 1/4 of the time that Harden has played on a playoff court, he has had the same number of turnovers or more than field goals made. Tonight was another one of those instances with 7 turnovers and only 6 made field goals. Put it all together, and again, a 10-point lead for Detroit. I think Cleveland ultimately, after running into that buzzsaw in the first quarter, has to feel pretty good about the way they fought back into the fourth quarter. I think Cleveland definitely still has life in this series. Still an interesting series to keep an eye on the rest of the way, in my opinion, in that one. As for the Thunder and Lakers, again, not much intrigue surrounding that outcome tonight, and I don't think there will be much surrounding that series. I saw nothing tonight that would dissuade me from thinking that we are right on the path for either a 4-0 or a 4-1 gentleman sweep in that one. And then we'll see. We'll see, because I'll tell you this, the Thunder have not looked particularly awe-inspiring. They are 5-0 in this postseason now. They're taking care of business. They are winning games fairly easily, fairly handily. But I haven't seen anything to really make me think the Thunder are unbeatable. Now, of course, they are missing Jalen Williams, and who knows what his timetable is. He's dealing with yet another soft tissue lower body injury, another hamstring strain for him. That's his third of the year now, too. Doesn't bode well when you see guys with a multitude of lower body injuries, hamstring and calf injuries. Aaron Gordon had his third hamstring injury or calf injury into the postseason. And of course, he never was right, couldn't get back on the floor. So if that is what's going to happen now with Jalen Williams, who missed about 50 games himself, very similar trajectory to Aaron Gordon this regular and postseason. If they are going to be without Jalen Williams the rest of the way, I mean, there's a chance here. There really is, that the winner of this series between the Spurs and the Timberwolves will have a viable and realistic opportunity to beat this team. Because look, the Timberwolves look like world beaters right now. They smoked the Nuggets. That series wasn't even close. It was 4-2, but whatever. 2 pity wins. Well, no, game 1 was a legitimate, viable win for the Denver Nuggets. They outplayed Minnesota. It was Murray's best game. A game he shot 7 of 22 was his best game of the series. But the second win they got was a pity win at home in game 5. And then look, they were the better team for most of the game against the Spurs, and their defense actually looked better than the Spurs, who that is what the Spurs are primarily touted for. So the rest of the Western way will be interesting. There are 3 great teams alive in the West in terms of the Thunder, the Wolves, and the Spurs. The Lakers just kind of there. The Lakers are just, look, they're there. Congratulations for winning the first round series. Houston, LA, Denver, none of those 3 really belong in the second round. One of them had to get there, obviously, and it was the Lakers lucking out and getting the greatest of the matchups there for those 3 teams to get themselves into the second round. This is exactly why I wanted the Nuggets to fall themselves, tank their way down to the 4 line, because it would have only required them losing one of their last 12 games. They ended the regular season on a 12-0 run. And if they were just 11-1, they would have gotten Houston without Kevin Durant. And then they would have gotten this Thunder team without Jalen Williams. A way better path ultimately now in hindsight than the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Spurs. But it's not hindsight being 2020 with me. I said it for the last week and a half that this path would have been a better path. So that's just one other thing the Nuggets can lament at home. Or from Cancun, wherever their bum asses are, while their loser front office and ownership group decides how to trade the entire roster away. But guys, many thanks for joining me here. Welcome in to Skap Live After Dark. We've got about 500 people here in Skap Live After Dark. As always, the waters are warm and frothy here. I appreciate you guys, the 500 strong that are here, and the activity that we have going on in this live chat. Always love to see it. Love to see it. We're at about the 23-minute mark. We got some super chats lined up already. I'll be addressing those. Moderator Gary is here, obviously, as always. Welcome in, Gary. How are you feeling tonight after these games?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, one thing on your monologue I disagree with. Absolutely 100%. If Ayo can go, he will suit up, because that's what the Timberwolves are made of heart. He will play if he can. I don't think he's going to worry about a contract year. If he can contribute, and they will need him if they're going to beat the Spurs. They're going to need either team are going to need everything to push the other one out. So I think they're going to need a contribution from Ayo. Is it Ayo or Io?
Io DeSumo, Gary. And let me ask you this: what makeup are you talking about for Io DeSumo? He's played with the Minnesota Timberwolves for 26 total games of his entire career. So he's not really infused with that Minnesota mentality, or it's not like he came up with them or he's been there for several years. He's a trade deadline acquisition this year, which was just another great. I'm so sick of all these great pickups. Like, how did the Thunder get Jared McCain this year? That's a terrorist-like move from the Philadelphia 76ers. And like DeSumo, like, just, oh yeah, go ahead and have him. Chicago go and passes him over. But Gary, I'm just saying, he's 26 years old. He's been in the league for 5 years. He's making $7 million this year. So I see he's iffy for quote iffy for game 2. If he is, look, if he's 100%, then he's going to play, of course. But if he's not 100%, if he's iffy, I think he's likely to not play. That's just my expectation.
All I know is I saw he introduced himself to the world in game 4. And Denver had no answer.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been good. He's an 11-point per game career scorer, 12 points per game the last couple years in Chicago. 15 points per game this year. He got some 6 man of the year votes this year. He finished 9th in 6 man of the year votes. 11-point per game career average, 4 points per game in his lone playoff appearance in 2022, where he played in only 5 games, and then 22 points per game in 5 games last round, 22 points on 61% shooting. Look, it's a payday year for him, Gary. Like he's good. He's never had a big contract at all. He's 26 already. I think he's not, look, it's calf tightness and calf soreness. Gary, those are code words for this could turn into a ruptured Achilles if it's not 100%. So I feel like, okay, some stars, so we've seen stars push it in the last couple years. We saw Tyrese Halliburton push it. We saw Jason Tatum push it. But like those guys have made hundreds of millions of dollars already, So like, I don't even know. I'm not even necessarily making a comment about it that like, I'm not even calling Dosunmu out and saying he should be playing or whatever, or he's soft if he doesn't, or he's all about the money if he doesn't. Like, I get it. I understand it. Like those guys, they've got the bag. They've secured the money. Like they do owe it to their team to play. Like Jason Tatum, you've made $250 million already or whatever it is. Like, yeah, get your ass on the court. You won the NBA championship last year. You're in a title defense year. Yeah, play. But for Dosunmu, who's made very little amounts of money, relatively speaking, in his NBA career, like I would understand him not wanting to jeopardize that. Austin Reeves, though, we don't see any of that from him. He's like, oh yeah, okay, I career year, I want my big payday. He's old too. He's like 27, Austin Reeves. He's never had a big payday. He was an undrafted player into the NBA, I do believe. He was one of these JUCO transfer type guys. He didn't get into the NBA. He was 23 years old when he entered the NBA. Only 7 points per game his first year. Steadily increased, 13 per game his second year, 16 per game his second year, his third year, 20 per game his fourth year, and this year 23, 5.5, and 5 per game this year on 49% shooting, a career year, again, at 27 years of age now. Like, but he doesn't care. He's like, oh, okay, like I'll rush back with my oblique strain without playing for 5 weeks and humiliate myself in the NBA playoffs. Sure, I'll cost myself $100 million maybe this summer. And I'm just spitballing. I think he's still going to get a big payday. But maybe Dosunmu is cut from the same cloth as Austin Reeves. We're going to find out, Gary. We'll find out as early as tomorrow in that second game between the Spurs and the Timberwolves.
I'm willing to bet you that Dosunmu is going to make some big plays in this series, as well as Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper, guys on the Spurs bench. I think that the Timberwolves and the Spurs bench players are going to contribute in immense ways down the stretch of this series.
Well, I mean, Gary, they already are. I mean, look at Dylan Harper. I believe, did he lead? He led them in scoring in game 1, I think, off of the bench.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look over the box. So I know he hit a few big shots. But I meant like down the stretch. Yeah, I know he already did game 1, but I'm saying as this series progresses to 6 or 7 games, I think that some of the bench guys, to your point, AO is not a big name, but I think some of these unknown, obscure players are going to make major contributions towards the end of this series.
Yeah, just to clean that up, Gary, real quick. Dylan Harper in the first game, which, how old is he? 20? Maybe? 19. This is his age 19 season. He might be 20 now. Let's see here. His birthday, he is 20 now. He turned 20 in March. So he turned 20 about 2 months ago, a month-ish before the NBA playoffs started. Yesterday he led the Spurs in scoring. in 29 minutes off the bench. 18 points, 7 of 13 shooting for a 20-year-old for that team in game one. The starting lineup, all of them, the San Antonio Spurs, in double digits. But Keldon Johnson, 11 off the bench, and Dylan Harper, 18 off the bench, led the way. Stephon Castle, 17, led the starters in that game, and he needs more than 8 shots. That he's got to be way more aggressive tomorrow. Like, Castle may be their best offensive player in this series at this point, and he got 8 shots. That was the 7th most shots attempted for the Spurs yesterday, and he was the best offensive player. He led his offensive rating. I talked about this in a video I put out today, Gary. Victor Wembanyama, there's a lot of discourse about two-way players these days, about how Nikola Jokic is basically a bum because he doesn't play on defense. Yet he had again, I repeat what I said earlier, a 110 defensive rating for him individually in his series. That was the best net rating on his team for that series. It was better than 8 of the 11 Minnesota Timberwolves in that series. It's 6 points better than SGA in his series against the Suns. Now, look, everyone says that Wemby is a two-way player. He had a 91 net defensive rating in that game one. Great. His offensive rating in game one was embarrassing. 74. Per 100 possessions, his per 100 rate offensively when Wemby was on the floor in game one was 74. 74 points per. There's about 101 possessions in an NBA game this year. So essentially with Wemby on the floor, and he played all but like 10 minutes of the game. So, but with him on the floor, they were paced to score 74 basically in a 100 possession game. Pitiful. Like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about what an elite two-way guy Wembanyama is and how he's better than Jokic because he can do it on offense like Jokic can, but then he's so much better on defense. Well, it doesn't look like it after game one. Now, he's only 22. It's only one game. But he admitted, Wembanyama, I listened to his presser, not last night before we went live and not before I made my video, but then I made a second video on it today after I listened to Wembanyama's full presser after the game last night. He admitted he was gassed. He was tired. He said he spent a lot of time focusing on one side of the court and that he did things offensively and used energy there where it wasn't helping his team really, and he just didn't utilize his energy properly, and he was just gassed. He was 1 of 5 in the fourth quarter for 3 points. And where was his defensive impact in the fourth? That he was amazing in the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, he played every minute of the game. He was on the floor every second. All 12 minutes in the fourth quarter was Wembanyama. A quarter where the Timberwolves scored 35 points on 64% shooting from the field. So not very effective defensively in the fourth, and he certainly wasn't effective offensively either, where he scored 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting. So I don't want to hear it. Like, if this series goes this way, I honestly don't want to hear the shit. I don't want to hear the excuses. Oh, we're a year ahead of schedule. Oh, they're so young. Oh, Wemby's so young. He's first team All-NBA, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP 2 this year. I don't want to hear it. If this is what it is. Like, if he goes out on his shield and is like 20, 25 and 10 and an elite defensive player, okay. Like, I'll afford him every excuse in the book, and I'll defend him like I defended Jokic when they lost to the Timberwolves. But if this is what it is, 11 points on 5 of 17, and it's like this the rest of the way, I don't want the excuse of, oh yeah, but all I heard on ESPN last night after the game and today was, oh, what an elite defensive performance by Victor Wembanyama. What an all-time crazy defensive performance. 12 blocks, all-time record. But what about the 11 points on 5 of 17? Like, again, I talk about that GIF or that meme or whatever the hell. I'm not up on the lingo like the kids, the internet lingo. but that GIF where it's an overweight woman without her shirt on and it's empowering. And then on the split, it's an overweight man without his shirt on. It says, put your shirt on. Like that is basically the Wembanyama Nikola Jokic GIF that I'm seeing right now with the way of the response to Victor Wembanyama's game one struggles. So look, he's got a lot of pressure on him. And look, the kid is a big time player. He has a big time mentality. He's an alpha guy through and through. He's an elite competitor. I love everything about him. I know he's pissed about that performance in game one. And typically when those guys, when those cats, like the Kobe's that we've seen throughout history, when they're pissed about their performance, they come out like game busters in the next game. So I fully anticipate seeing Victor Wembanyama do precisely that tomorrow. But he better, because if he doesn't and they go down 0-2, I don't know. I might be the only one out there doing it, but I'll be here criticizing him, or at least asking for some commonality with the way he is treated versus the way Nikola Jokic was treated and going out in that series.
Have I not been criticizing him all year, on and off?
I'm not talking about you, Gary. I'm talking about the fraud media personalities that are on ESPN, on Fox Sports, on the trolls all over the internet, on X. I'm not talking about me and you. I'm talking about the general consensus. Again, I saw last night. I saw the headline on ESPN was Timberwolves overcome historic defensive effort by Victor Wembanyama. That was the headline. What if Nikola Jokic lost a 2-point game at home as a 15-point favorite when he had 11 points on 5 of 17? It certainly wouldn't be like Timberwolves overcome whatever. It would have been Jokic shits himself and chokes and is a bum. That would have been the headline on ESPN had that been a Jokic performance. So I just want the same energy. That's all.
Have I not been saying Jokic is better than Wembanyama right now? Jokic
And he
is in
is.
his prime. Wembanyama's not in his prime yet. That's what's scary. And so I have to disagree with you 100% when you say that age has nothing to do with Wembanyama. He's not in his prime yet. And what are centers called? They're referred to as big men. Wembanyama isn't going inside in this series because he's too small. He's getting pushed around. But give him year 4, 5, and 6. When he gets bigger each year, there's going to come a point where guys can't bully him and push him around in the paint. And when that happens, he's going to enter his prime. And then he's going to take over the league on offense and defense. So age does matter when it comes to Wembanyama.
I completely disagree. I don't think age, race, ethnicity, I don't think any of that plays a role or a factor in sports.
Is he not going to be bigger in 3 years than he is now? And the size, that's why he's getting pushed around, because he's too small. As you age, you get bigger. Look at Giannis, how skinny he was when he came in, and every year he got bigger. Wembanyama's already way bigger in year 3 than year 1. He's going to be way bigger in year 5 and year 6. So age does play a big part with Wembanyama's progress right now. Do you think he's going to get bullied by Julius Randle in 2 years from now like he is, and by Rudy Gobert?
Gary, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl at 23, I believe, in his second year as a pro in the NFL. A man's game, Gary, a physical man's game at the elite leadership position.
You're deflecting. That's a different topic.
I'm not deflecting. Kobe Bryant, Gary, was the best player to me in the NBA, or the second best player in the NBA.
At 22,
you're 22 years old.
He didn't rely on size. What did I just say? It says centers are called big men. Kobe didn't need to be big to be effective, but a center does. Wembanyama is like a kid out there.
Gary, let me ask you a question. As a Spurs fan, how old was Tim Duncan when he won his first NBA championship?
And 25, 3 years older than Wemby, and he had 4 years college experience going in. He was mature coming out of Wake Forest. He lost In his first year, he lost in the second round to the Jazz, and, as you know, and then the next year they won the championship. He was he was 24 or 25, but I think he was 25, and he was bigger than Wemby. Wemby is a string bean, was a string bean when he came in. He's still a string bean to an extent, but he's bigger. And as he gets bigger, as he's done every year, when he gets stronger, guess what? No more bullying him in the paint like they're doing right now. And when that happens, it's over.
Gary, I would expect so much more of you as a San Antonio Spurs enthusiast. Tim Duncan was age 22 in 1998-99, aged 22, when he was third in league MVP voting, fifth in Defensive Player of the Year voting, All-NBA first team, All-NBA defense in 98-99, was Finals MVP, and won the NBA championship in 1998-99, age 22. This year, Victor Wembanyama is age 22. Tim Duncan is a big man. He was a big man. He's a power forward center. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't, Gary.
Wemby is a string bean. Duncan was not a string. And he was with David Robinson. Wemby doesn't have a David Robinson with him. So they together, Duncan and Robinson. First of all, Duncan's bigger than Wemby, regardless of the age. My point is just, are you denying Wemby's going to get stronger? I know you're not denying that. So are you saying that when Wemby's 25 and bigger, that he's not going to be more effective in the paint?
Gary, you're assuming a lot. You're assuming that he has the body and the physique and the build that will accept additional loads of muscle. Like Chet Holmgren.
He already has. Did you look at it? The progress
Gary,
here.
Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama might just be skeletons. Look, how much weight did Kevin Durant put on in the last 20 years?
That's Durant. Look at Wemby year one and look at him now. Chat, is Wemby not a good bit bigger from year 3 than he was when he came in? And imagine how much bigger he's going to be in year 5 and year 6 at age 25 and 26. That's my point. And then he won't get bullied in the paint like he is now. Wemby and Duncan are different players.
Yes, Gary, you are imagining quite a bit. You're telling me to imagine. You are imagining a lot. That Wembanyama is going to be this like muscle-bound like beast in like 2 or 3 more years and isn't going to get pushed around. Chet Holmgren, one of the reasons why the Oklahoma City Thunder, look, Chet Holmgren is an elite defender. He's elite. He's second in defensive rating this year to Wembanyama. Second in defensive win shares this year to Wembanyama. Second in Defensive Player of the Year voting this year to Wembanyama. He's an elite defensive player. There's a reason they went out and got Isaiah Hartenstein. And there's a reason why that defense was taken to the next level when they got him. Because as great as Chet is, on-ball defense and rim help, rim protection, he is not physically strong and he is not physically able to stand up to some personnel in the paint. Maybe he just never will be, Gary. These guys are skeletons. Like, you're just assuming they're going to get big and strong.
I'm not saying he's going to be big like Giannis. I'm saying he will be bigger. Are you saying he can't be at least as big as Rudy Gobert?
Yes, I am saying that. 100% I don't think that he could be as big as Rudy Gobert. Like, maybe, Gary, maybe. But that's a big assumption.
So you're thinking that Wemby... Have you not seen the progress, how much bigger he is now than when he first came in the league? Do you acknowledge that? So
no, I mean, yes, he's obviously put on some muscle. He's still a skeleton after 3 years. Bro, Rudy Gobert is 260 pounds. He's listed at 7'1", 260. Do I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be 260? Probably not.
All right, well, time will tell. We will see.
I mean, he's been in the league. He's been in the league for 3 years. I mean, yeah, he's looking bigger, but Gary, he's been in the league for 3 years already.
Right. He's not in his I won't argue. I don't want to get the chat frustrated. We'll go on to something else because I can be here and argue with this all day. So
I think the problem is this, Gary. I don't want to hear your excuses. That's the problem. I don't want to hear anybody's excuses about Victor Wembanyama. That's the problem.
You have been arguing with me about the Spurs all year. When I criticize the Spurs, you're texting me, no, they're a super team. They're a super team.
They are.
Like, no, they're not ready. They're not.
Gary, let me just tell you my stance. They are ready. I think they are capable of competing now. If they lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder, there's no shame in that. If they win 62 games and come into the NBA playoffs as presumptive, overwhelming favorites to get to the Oklahoma City Thunder and give them a series, and if they lose in 4 or 5 in this round, and Victor Wembanyama is bad offensively, I don't want to hear the excuses. That's all I'm saying. And you're giving me excuses. Oh, he's not in his prime yet. He's too skinny. He's going to be so much bigger in year 5 or 6. I don't want to hear those excuses.
I never said he was going to win this year. That's why does no one give me credit for saying I'm the only one who's been a rational, reasonable San Antonio Spurs fan. These stupid-ass San Antonio Spurs fans think they're going to win it this year. Newsflash, spoiler alert, we do not win this year. No way in hell are the Spurs winning this year. We are not ready. Wemby is not in his prime. Stephon Castle is not in his prime. Dylan Harper, Carter Bryant are not in their prime. But we are going to get there. When we do, we will have a dynasty. We're not there yet. So I don't know why you're coming at me telling me I don't want to hear excuses, Gary. I didn't say Wemby's going to win this year. So what excuses are you talking about?
The excuses that you keep blabbering on about him being not in his prime.
The Spurs developing? That's all I'm saying. That they are. Am I wrong? Are they not developing?
Okay, Gary. Okay. This is what we're going to do. I am going to explain my stance without you yelling and echoing my mic. I'm not necessarily talking or targeting you, Gary. I'm targeting the perception of Victor Wembanyama by the mass media, the defense of Victor Wembanyama in the mass media. I don't want to hear any of the excuses, and this is why. Age, you're saying age is an excuse, and I'm rejecting that is a fact. LeBron James is 41 years old. I don't allow that as a crutch for him. It shouldn't be a crutch for him. It shouldn't be a crutch when he's young. LeBron James was only 22 when he lost to San Antonio in the NBA Finals and he got swept. But, Gary, people were already saying LeBron was the best player in the NBA or the second best player in the NBA when he was 22, and he lost that series to the Spurs. And guess what? They were very competitive in that series. I know you forget all about it since you're a Spurs fan and Tim Duncan was 25 years old when he won his first championship, but he wasn't. He was 22. But when they won in 98, 99, Tim Duncan was just an elite player already. There were no excuses for him. They just won the championship. And then LeBron James was 22 when he got to play the Spurs and Tim Duncan in 2007, I think that it was. And people were already saying LeBron was the best player in the NBA, arguably to Kobe Bryant, and he was 22. That series was competitive. It was close. I know you will sit here, I've heard you say it before, and give LeBron excuses and say that was actually his best moment, one of his best moments, taking that team to the finals and losing to the Spurs. There was no shame in that. No, I reject that. LeBron had a top 3 net rated defense that year. The San Antonio Spurs were held to 88 points per game. You're a big Spurs fan. Do you remember that? Do you remember the Cleveland Cavaliers defense holding the Spurs to 87 or 88 points per game in a 4-game series? That series was there for the taking. If you are the king, if you are the chosen one, if you are already better than Kobe Bryant, then win those games that your defense is keeping you in. Victor Wembanyama, I don't care if he's 32, 22, 17, whatever. People are saying he's arguably the best player in the world. Maybe you're not. Fine. Congratulations. A lot of people are, Gary. There's cases going around, substantial credentialed NBA reporters that are saying they voted for Victor Wembanyama for MVP, that he's the best player. Okay. Well, his team was there in a one-score game at home as a 15-point favorite, and he scored 11 points on 5 of 17 shooting. I don't care if he's 22. I don't care if he's a big man that's not as strong as he's going to be in year 5 or 6. They're good enough right now. If he wasn't 5 of 17 for 11 points, they would have won game 1. That's all I'm saying, Gary. I get it. You don't think they're going to win. I get it. You've been saying it all year. They're not ready. I get it. But they are. There's 62 wins, and they're the favorites by 15 points in game 1 in this second round. I'm just saying what it is. There's people that voted. He will win MVP. He will finish MVP over Jokic this year. He's going to finish second in MVP, Gary. He's the only ever unanimous defensive player of the year. You can't give him these accolades and celebrate him for being this good at 22. And then when he loses, say, oh, but he's only 22. Just think about how much better he's going to get. He's not even in his prime. They're ahead of schedule. No. That's what I'm saying. I want the same energy. I want consistency. If he's not that good, if he's not ready, then he shouldn't be second in MVP over Jokic. I mean, maybe Lucas should have finished third, and Wemby should be 4th or 5th in MVP voting this year. Point in fact, he did play only 29 minutes per game this year, and only 65 games. And he looked really gassed in 39 minutes, Gary. Why don't you talk to that? Is his conditioning going to get much better moving forward? Because he looked very gassed after 39 minutes, and he's played in under 30 on average this year. So is that something, too, that's going to have to get better as he gets older? Is he not conditioned enough after 3 years in the NBA? What do you think about that?
Okay, first of all, Tim Duncan was 23. He was born in April 76. They won in June.
He was in his age 22 season, Gary. Victor Wembanyama is in his age 22 season. They're both their years say 22 right now.
Wembanyama just turned 22. Duncan had just turned 23.
Okay. You said 25.
I thought he was 22 when he left, and then his rookie year would have been 23, second year 24. So I was off by 1 year.
Gary, if you go to NBA.com reference and look at Victor Wembanyama this year, it says it's his age 22 year. If you go to NBA.com's reference page for Tim Duncan and look at the first title run, it says it's his age 22 year. So when the season started, Gary, they were both 22. It just is what it is.
Wemby was 21 at the start of this season. He turned 22 in December or January.
Gary, go look at basketballreference.com for me. Look something up. See what it says for him this year.
Okay, I can do that, but even if it says it doesn't mean it's accurate. He just turned 22 in the middle of the season, and I'm just going by the age. I wasn't researching how old they were at the start in the end of the season. I'm just saying Duncan was technically 23 when he won, and I'm saying right now Wemby's 22. That's all I said. I don't know why I need to add layers to it.
Gary, Tim Duncan was born in April, which means
April 25th of 1976.
Right. Which means he was 22 when the playoffs started that year. He turned 23 in the first round of the postseason, the year he won the NBA championship. So he was, Gary, 3 months older.
He's not 3 months.
He was 3 months older than Victor Wembanyama is right now, or a year, whatever, Gary. Gary, whatever, a year, whatever. He was 22, 23 years old. He won the NBA MVP of the finals and the championship that year. And he was a big man.
Playing alongside David Robinson, a Hall of Fame center. San Antonio was already primed and ready. San Antonio was 62-20 and choked in the playoffs against Hakeem in 95, had some injuries. Then they landed Tim Duncan alongside them. The Spurs were total ass, as you would say, got Wembanyama, and they're building around Wembanyama organically. Duncan fell into a great situation, whereas Wembanyama didn't.
Gary, all right, we're going to move on. We're going to put a pin on this and move on. I don't want to get stuck on this anymore. To say that Wembanyama didn't fall in a great position is it's ludicrous, Gary. That is a ridiculous comment by you.
Yeah, they were great. How good were they when they drafted?
Overall elite talent surrounding him right now. What every player on his team in his top 5 rotation?
Now they do. Not when he got drafted. They were surrounded by Jeremy Sohan and Vassell and Keldon. That was all they had, and they traded Sohan. They got Castle, and that's why I was so adamant last year about not trading Castle, because Castle was so good. Then the next year they got Harper and Carter. Oh, and De'Aaron Fox. Fox wasn't there. They were bare bones when he got there. That's why they were able to draft him, because they were ass, as you would say.
And now he's 22 years old, and he has like 5 teammates who are top 5 picks in the lottery.
They're going to be a great dynasty.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good situation.
That is now. I said when he was drafted.
We have seen a plethora of big men throughout NBA history be elite early on when they come in. Victor Wembanyama has a small, slight frame, just like Chet Holmgren, just like Kevin Durant. Maybe Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama are going to bulk up substantially through the rest of their career, or maybe they're just going to be like Kevin Durant.
Wemby's already shown that he's capable of putting on weight. He's way bigger than he was. If you look at it, I don't think you remember how scrawny he was when he first came into the league. He is substantially bigger now, and I don't see any reason to think why he can't continue to put on a few pounds of muscle each summer for the next few years. I'm not saying he's going to look like Giannis, but he's going to get bigger. He's going to get to a point where he's going to be able to dominate in the paint. Unlike he can't do it now.
I mean, he can't. He has been dominant in the paint from time to time. I think he shoots probably
against non-aggressive teams. He's not doing that against Jokic or the Nuggets. Not against big men. He's not doing that. At least not consistently.
Yeah, I mean, look, he gets bullied by bigger muscle-bound guys. I'm like Jokic bullies him in the paint because Jokic is like 280. But like Wembanyama is maybe 225, maybe. But maybe maybe he gets up to like 240. I just don't know. I guess, is Kevin Durant, he's just never been trying to put on weight for 20 years then, you think?
He doesn't need it. His game doesn't call for it. He's not banging bodies in the paint. Wembanyama will be able to do. That's why he shot all those outside shots yesterday, because he didn't want to bang it up in the paint with those guys. I'm not saying that he's going to be a huge center, but what I'm saying is once he does put on some more weight, he's not going to be able to get bullied the way that he is now. In every aspect, every facet of his game is going to be on point, unlike right now.
Everybody needs muscle, Gary. Everybody.
Durant doesn't.
Yes, he does. Did Michael Jordan just come into the NBA and was like, oh, well, he was whatever, 6'5", 6'6", like 180-ish when he came into the league, probably 190 maybe. He got up to 225. Same with Kobe Bryant, was like 6'5", 170 when he came into the league as like a 7. He was drafted at 17. He played at 225. He played at 6'6", 225. Those guys were shooting guards, Gary. But they needed, Kobe Bryant specifically went up. He played bigger than 225 some years because he felt like he needed more muscle to go through the rigors of the season and to take on the physicality of what he felt like he was going to need to be able to play with moving on that year. He was a shooting guard. So you don't think that a forward in Kevin Durant could have used a bigger frame than what he's had for the last 20 years or 18 years or whatever?
Kevin Durant's body type is not his issue. His issue is there's a slew of other things he's got wrong. His body type wasn't really a detriment to him.
I disagree. I think every player should come in and add whatever muscularity they can, not to the point where it's deterring their athleticism in any way. Like, I'm not suggesting, like, if it's affecting their speed and the way that they move up and down the floor, the way they lift off the ground, if the extra weight is impacting and hurting their bodies, their lower bodies when they're landing from jumping, then okay, like, play lighter. But by and large, look at LeBron James. That guy, look, of all the critical things I say about him, he is a freak. He is still muscular as hell. He has the lowest, I heard a story where he has the lowest body fat on the team right now at 41, still muscle bound as hell, yoked as hell at 41 with the lowest body fat on that team. Maybe that's why, sure, maybe some of the supplementation he's putting in his body is assisting him in some way in doing this. But like, it's part of why he's so good for this long, because muscle is what every human being needs. It is the building, the foundation for successful aging, both in life as a human and in sports as an NBA player. So like, the fact that you say that Kevin Durant just didn't need to put weight on, and he's just been this string bean skeleton for 20 years because, oh, he just didn't need it. I completely disagree with that. Everybody needs it. I just think he was incapable of putting it on because his body type just simply isn't conducive to holding that much weight. And maybe, just maybe, Chet Holmgren and both Victor Wembanyama are going to fall in that same exact category. You're making a lot of assumptions about, like, Gary, maybe Victor Wembanyama is just hurt every year moving forward. Like, that's an assumption. Like, maybe if he tries to put on all this weight and does, maybe his fragile lower body, his feet that he had issues with coming in, maybe he sustains these stress fractures and stuff because he's put on too much weight. Like, you're making a lot of assumptions on what Wembanyama is going to be.
You're not taking into account the Spurs are meticulous about, they monitor him constantly. He is the future of that franchise. They're not going to try to get him to bulk up all at one time. They're doing it very gradually. This is not going to be Yao Ming. Of course, I've been concerned about potential injuries, but he has the best shot of any big man to have a long, sustainable career because they're monitoring his minutes. Notice he does not often play heavy minutes. He started playing heavier minutes in the playoffs, which is understandable, but he'll play 20 to 25 minutes a game in the regular season. So they're monitoring him. They're not going to run him into the ground like the Rockets did Yao Ming and other big men used to get run into the ground. The Spurs are not going to do that. They're going to monitor him. He gets agitated at times. Notice how he said he didn't like the way the concussion protocol was handled. It's because they forced him to sit out and he didn't like it because his dumbass wants to be out there for 40 minutes a game. They are making sure they're putting him in the best position for a decade to try to sustain as good as health as possible. So they're going to put him in the best possible position. Is it a guarantee he'll be healthy? Of course not. You've heard me say countless times that's the only thing I'm concerned about with him. Last year when he got the blood clot, I thought his career was over, like Chris Bosh's. I thought it was the same type of injury, but it turned out it was something way different. Wemby has looked really good. You remember at the beginning of this year, I told you, why does Wemby look so tired in the second half of games? The second half of the season, he has not looked nearly as gassed, although he did last night because he's playing heavier minutes. The good thing about the Spurs and the depth, they don't need him to play heavy minutes to still win games. This is why I say I believe they can be a dynasty because of how well they've drafted, and they still are going to get their stretch four in this year's draft to complete the championship/dynasty puzzle.
Well, and this is why I say maybe we need to pump the brakes on this MVP shit. Maybe we're all, and I'm not saying you, Gary, maybe the media and the vast perception of people out there have jumped the gun, because I don't think, now the more I think about it, Jokic is a cheat code with on-offs and net swings. He's always the best because he's always the most valuable. This year, for the first time in 6 years, an MVP candidate eclipsed Nikola Jokic in his on-off and net swing, and it was Victor Wembanyama. But that's because he plays only 29 minutes a game. Like, what if Jokic played only 29 minutes a game and was fresh the whole game? Like, well, his net swing and on-off would probably be even better, because in the fresh 29 minutes that he's playing, they would look even better. And then when he's sitting out even more time of the game, he played 35 minutes a game, 6 more minutes a game on average than Wembanyama did this year, then the team would look even that much worse. So his net swing would be even better. So maybe if the premise that the voters are working with here this year is, well, the net differential is finally like Jokic isn't the best in the NBA. Shea's got to get the MVP for whatever reason. They were already decided on that. And now they're like, well, okay, we can also justify Wembanyama over Jokic because of these advanced metrics that he's dominated. Jokic has. Now Wembanyama has seized control of that. But that's because Wembanyama, quite frankly, was in ideal situations, like throughout the year, like playing fresh pretty much every game he's in. He also, missed games intermittently sprinkled. Jokic missed the same number of games as Wembanyama, but he missed them in one punch. Jokic played every game before the injury. He played every game after the injury. So, like, Wembanyama was missing games here and there. He's only playing 25 minutes. He came off the bench for like 9 to 12 games or something like that this year. So, like, that works in the regular season. Hell, it might even work in the playoffs for some opponents. But it ain't going to work against the Thunder, I don't think, next round. And it's probably not even going to work against the Timberwolves in this series. So he's going to have to play 37, 39, 40 minutes. And he's going to have to keep a sustained level of energy and effort on both sides of the floor if they want to get beyond. And, like, maybe he's just going to keep getting. Look, he is very, very young. He's only in his 3rd year. He's only 22. But we have seen instances of success for young players at this moment in their career already at this point. Now, yes, the team surrounding him is also young. I will, of course, concede that too. But he does have a really good team around him. Like, they were really good without him in the games he didn't play. They had a positive net rating for per 100 possessions this year without him. So, I mean, yes, I agree. I didn't think they would win this year either. I thought they would lose to the Thunder, and I thought that would be an acceptable loss. I certainly didn't see a loss other than to the Thunder coming, though. And I still don't think they will. I think that they will. I said last night after game 1, I still am standing behind my Spurs pick. I still think they will win this series. But he puts pressure on himself with his competitiveness. There's no doubt about that. And I think the media has bestowed a lot on him already. It's like the same with LeBron James. Like, they anointed LeBron at a very young age. And now they have anointed Wembanyama from a very young age. You might not think that's fair, and you might personally not think that he deserves to be in these conversations already. So you individually, Gary 828, might disagree with everything that he's been given, but he has been given it. And to whom much is given, much is, expected. I'm going to change the saying. So, like, LeBron James was called the king, the chosen one. They thought they were calling him better than Kobe at 21, 22. Okay, well, I expect you to not get swept in the NBA Finals when your defense is holding its opponent to 88 points per game. And, like, for Victor Wembanyama, okay, I don't expect you to go 5 of 17 for 11 points in a game you lose by 2 points at home in a playoff game as a 14.5-point favorite. That's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to call you out individually or pick a fight with you. I was just saying, not you, but the consensus. Like, the consensus of Victor Wembanyama.
Okay, I think the communication must have broken down. You must have been just talking, saying, hey, Gary, and then you went on your soliloquy. But when you said Gary, that's when I took it like, why are you coming at me? Because I've been the first one. In fact, you can go to my channel, Gary828 Sports Talk. I made videos talking in the middle of the season about the way the Spurs were overhyped. And I clowned Kendrick Perkins because he says, the Spurs going to win a championship this year. And guess what, Jay? Here's a fun fact. Did you know that after last night's game, Kendrick came on First Take this morning and retracted his Spurs winning a championship and said the Timberwolves are going to win this series after only one game. So that's just an example of how sketchy these so-called analysts on ESPN are. They don't know what they're talking about. They spin narratives and then they overhype for views and clicks. That's their primary job, but they don't actually analyze basketball. I do say Wemby is the future, like they said that about LeBron. I'm just saying that he's not going to win now. It's going to be down the road, but I'm saying year 5, 2028, possibly at the earliest next year if they get a really good stretch 4 in a draft, but even then, they need time to gel. And once they get their stretch 4 next year and they gel, they should be a little better than this year. And in 2028 is when I think you're going to see something out of this world from the Spurs.
I don't disagree with anything you said, but there was reason why people were excited about the Spurs and picking the Spurs. Like, it didn't come out of left field. Like,
it's exciting. They're fun to play. I'm excited too. I just know they're not gonna. They're doing all that against a lot of some good teams, yes, but a lot of mediocre teams. I said on that previous video that I made, I said I think they're gonna lose round 2 to the Nuggets or the Timberwolves. And if they get past them, I think they'll lose to the Thunder. So I'm excited too. There's electricity. This is what I was talking about last night. Jay, we're getting our league back after LeBron has tainted it the way he has. Last night's game almost had me in tears because I'm like, I feel like I'm watching Kobe and Duncan again. The way Edwards came out there and gutted out a gritty performance after Tatum's bum ass, as you would say, sat out game 7. Edwards came in unexpected, came in and played like Kobe Bryant. And the Spurs, they lost by 2 as bad as they played, and that's why I'm so happy. I'm not upset about the loss because as bad as they played with Fox, what was it like? Fox was terrible. Wemby was terrible in the offense. They lost by 2 points and had a good look at the buzzer to steal that game. The fact that they were down like 7 or 8 with a minute to go and fought back, put themselves in position to score and win at the end, that's what potential championships, that they are building a championship team. I'm so excited. I don't care about the loss. I'm just so happy that we've got basketball back. Props to the Spurs and the Timberwolves both.
That's fair, Gary. And I know that you never believed in the Spurs team this year. I know that. And I agree. I have agreed all year that the Spurs were not going to win this year because they were just too young. And typically teams that are this young do not understand how to close and win playoff games. But there is a case feasibly for them to be the best team in the NBA right now already. I'm not saying I didn't think they could win because the best team doesn't always win, specifically when it's a young team. But they were the 3rd net rated team overall, tied with the Pistons, actually. So it was the Thunder were the best net rated team if you look at all 82 games. And then the Pistons and the Spurs were tied for 2nd. But if you look post All-Star break, the Spurs were the number 1 team in the NBA by a pretty large margin. When you look, they were plus nearly 13 in the post All-Star break run. They had the best record in the NBA post All-Star break. If you extrapolate out their post All-Star break, their net rating, their net differential, their record, they're a 72 win team with the all-time single season net record rating and the all-time differential rating. If you extrapolate out the snippet we saw post All-Star break, they ended the season 30-4 in their last 34 games. So like there is a case to say already coming into these playoffs, the Spurs are the best team in the NBA already. It's just they're too young to understand how to get over the hump in clutch time in these games. So like while I agree with what you're saying, it wasn't unfounded that a lot of people were picking the Spurs to win this year already, because theoretically they are the best team. Like, you can make that case. And they were 4-1 against the defending champions that everybody thought was the presumptive favorites in Oklahoma City, rather. So I'm not saying it's a choke, but you gotta, I expect a lot more from Wembanyama than what I saw. Like, if they lose, fine. They're young, they're inexperienced, they'll be way better moving forward. They're going to win many championships, I think, down the line. But I still think there's levels to it. Like, how they lose does matter. Like, if they just lose, they just get outplayed, whatever. But I expect a lot more from Victor Wembanyama, and I think I will see a lot more. And I think he will start with tomorrow night, first and foremost, delivering more for us. I expect the Spurs to win tomorrow night. In fact, let me just check while we're putting a bow on that convo and see what the line is. It is 9.5. So 9.5 point favorites, says Vegas, for the San Antonio Spurs at home after losing as 14.5 point favorites. I don't know. That still seems like a pretty high line to me. But the vast perception and expectation is that the Spurs should handily win tomorrow to get back in the series. The Timberwolves are not going to go away. Like, they're not going to sit back and say, like, oh, we got this game. Like, oh, well, we got our split. Let's just take it back to Minnesota now. They're going to come tomorrow, and they're going to apply pressure. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun game. I can't wait. That game is at 9:30 tomorrow. So that should be a good one, Gary. We are now an hour and 15 minutes in. I think we've gotten our one. We're good for like one argument a night, probably. I think we got our one good argument out of our system for tonight. And we'll go ahead and start hitting in on some of these super chats, see what direction you guys want to take it. Obviously, God is the great physician is in now for the first one. Welcome into you. Thanks for being here, Gary. What's the question or comment?
You can't have Reeves going 2 of 14 in a game you're already shorthanded. He finished 3 of 16, didn't he?
Yeah, the final line was 3 of 16, 8 points, but totally agree. God is a great physician. I know we disagree on some things, but on this one, we do agree. And I said it in the open. You sent this about an hour and 15 minutes ago. You were the first one in right when I went live, basically. Thank you very much. So hopefully you are still here to hear my response. And hopefully you heard my open when I talked a lot about Reeves. I think he might be losing a good amount of money. Maybe, potentially, maybe at least he might be losing that money from the Lakers. I thought it was a foregone conclusion going into these playoffs that Reeves was going to get a big time extension by LA this summer. Maybe they don't want that. Maybe they want to go in another direction potentially. Next in, we've got Too Many Clamps 130. Too Many Clamps 130. Thank you very much. Welcome into you, Gary. What is the question or comment from Too Many Clamps?
Thunder played like doo-doo and still won by 18. True.
Yeah, just too big to fail by and large for the most part, just like last year. They didn't play very well at all. A C game for them, probably. The Lakers had a great game plan. They did great work on Shea, I thought, tonight. Shea wasn't good at all by his standards. And most of the Lakers that did played well other than Reeves, and still an 18-point margin there. But look, no Luka Doncic. You can make a case, I know many will, that while Luka would add something offensively, he would detract from them defensively. So I guess there is that case to be made. I still think Luka is a willing defender at times. Sometimes he's not. But we'll see if or when he gets back and what he provides to them. Ultimately, though, yes, the Thunder, I really do think, as good as the Knicks are playing, as good as that defense for Detroit is, I think whatever comes out of this Pistons Spurs series, that's the only shot that we got at stopping a Thunder repeat. And I ultimately think the Thunder are going to win the championship this year. We've got God is a great position back again. Welcome back in again for a second time in 3 super chats. Right off the top again, you were very quick on the trigger with this one right when I started. So thank you very much. God is a great position. Gary, what's the second one from him?
SGA has it almost as easy as KD did with Golden State. The team is historically stacked and great. He is the GOAT flopper.
I do think he is a flopper and a grifter and a foul baiter, but I will continue to defend him in the sense that he is just exploiting the system. Like, he has gamed the system. Those are fouls by the letter of the law and the NBA rule books. He is earning his way to the free throw line, whether you agree or disagree of the merit or the veracity of which he's doing it, whether it's whatever, what do they say, ethical or unethical, that's up to you to decide. But what I'm telling you is the NBA officiates it that way. He's getting those free throws deservingly, and I don't like the way he plays a lot of the time. When the guy actually just tries to score baskets, he's an elite play. He really is. He's a smooth, easy, free-flowing, elite, efficient scorer. And I like to watch him when he's doing that. When he's just running into people and throwing the ball towards the basket, it's just gross to watch. But he's gamed the system. And that's a good analogy. Actually, it's a pretty good comparison. This is the best team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the best team. And maybe the Spurs are getting to a point where we're going to infuse them into the conversation, because I just made a case for them being the best team right now. But the Thunder, when at full health, are the best team since that Golden State team that added KD. And yes, KD basically, again, just had to come in and just do what KD does. Score smooth and efficient 30. If he does that, they can't be beaten. That's the same with the Thunder. If Shai just scores a smooth and efficient 30, they can't be beaten. So that's a pretty good analogy. Like, when I talk about the reason why I think Jokic is the MVP and has been for 6 years, because this dude will get you a 60-point triple-double and lose games. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, can you imagine if Jokic was on a team that had this caliber of defensive supporting cast and bench depth? And essentially they're like, listen, all you do have to do is score 25 and get a triple-double. Like, and we win every game. Well, that would be a pretty good arrangement for Nikola Jokic. Unfortunately, he's never going to have that arrangement. He's got to score 30, 35 points on 60%, get double-digit assists, and play his ass off on defense the best he can, and play 40 minutes because his bum bench loses every lead he gets. Like, it's just a really lousy arrangement. While Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has one of the best deals I've seen of a superstar this century, Nikola Jokic undeniably has one of the worst. God is a great physician with a third one back-to-back here, and 3 now of the last 4. Thank you very much for that. Go ahead, Gary, with the latest one from him.
He says, if I'm the Lakers, I'm trading Austin for Jalen B. And I confirmed with him he is referring to Jaylen Brown, not Jalen Brunson, just to clarify. And no, I don't think that anyone's going to swap out Brunson or Brown to the Lakers for Austin Reeves.
What's so funny about this? I would do that too if I were you. God is a great physician. What's so funny about this? I am a Nugget. I'm not even really a Nuggets fan. I'll tell you, I am a fan of the sanctity of the sport. I want, again, like Harvey Dent, played by Aaron Eckhart in The Dark Knight 2008, my favorite superhero movie ever. Like Aaron Eckhart at the end of The Dark Knight, when he is kidnapped James Gordon's kid and is holding a gun to him. I want what's fair. Like, I want Nikola Jokic to be in a top 10 conversation because he deserves to be. He is put down. He is a top 10 player in my estimation. He will not be regarded as such, probably not even by me, if he doesn't get at least one more ring. So I'm a Nuggets fan in the sense that I want Jokic to get one more ring so that the sanctity of the sport and that an all-time top 10 player can be discussed as such. So, but as a fan of the Nuggets, I guess, a de facto fan of them, the same way I was a fan of the Lakers for 20 years with Kobe Bryant. I wasn't really a Lakers fan. I was a Kobe fan. But now I am not really a Nuggets fan. I'm a Jokic fan, but by extension, Nuggets. So I'm looking at trades, thinking of trades, and I see all these trade suggestions, and they're just ridiculous suggestions. Like let's trade Christian Brown and Cam Johnson for Jaylen Brown. Or like it's just stuff that's never going to happen. Like they're not feasible actual trade requests or suggestions. So that's kind of what this one is from guys. A great Austin Reeves for Brown. Come on. Like the Celtics would literally drop their phone laughing. They wouldn't even be able to hang it up. They would just, it would slip out of their hands as they were laughing at that suggestion or proposal. I do think like maybe Brown or Tatum for Jokic and like 5 or 6 first-round picks from Boston. I think that might be a viable thing that could potentially work for both teams, but I don't think the Nuggets actually want to trade Nikola Jokic. I think the Celtics would probably do that trade, but I don't think the Nuggets would. And maybe I think there are deals that could be worked between the Nuggets and maybe the Lakers, maybe the Nuggets and the Lakers, or the Nuggets and the Celtics. Maybe like Derek White for like maybe Peyton Watson sign and trade, or Aaron Gordon. Maybe you do the Lakers really covet Peyton Watson. Maybe a sign and trade for like 2 of their more athletic pieces. Possibly. I think there are trades to be made, but come on, guys, a great position. That is not one of them. Stop with that. The real Donald Trump from, of course, Canada is in now. Welcome in, El Presidente, the Don. What is the question or comment from him, Gary?
SGA is a basic player without the refs helping him. And people say he would dominate in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s because of his footwork.
Look, I think the criticism of SGA might go a little too far sometimes. Like, I think that he is a great player. I think if the NBA changed the way that he was officiated and changed the rules and the way the referees are interpreting the rules, then in that case, I think Shea would adjust and he would evolve and he wouldn't do those things anymore. And he would just, look, I saw even some moments tonight in a bad game for him where he was pinned up like by 2 or 3 guys and he still found his way to the basket easily. He got a couple layups. He got some really good looks for his teammates. I think the criticism of Shea goes too far sometimes. I don't think he's the MVP this year. I don't think he was the MVP last year. And I don't think he's the best player in the NBA, but he might rip that title. If he gets 2 MVPs and 2 finals MVPs, like that results matter at the end of the day. Like whether he has a too big to fail super team around him or not, like those are still the results. So he still is going to deserve that respect if he does it. I have criticisms for him from time to time, and he has a very easy arrangement, a very easy deal. But he still does it. Like he's not choking in this arrangement. I think I saw a graphic where in the month of March till this game, where he missed like 3 shots in the fourth quarter tonight. For the entire month of March and the first series of the playoffs, he missed 1 shot in the fourth quarter. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, he didn't shoot a lot of shots because they're up by so much, but like, he was the clutch player of the year for a reason. Like, he led the NBA in clutch scoring this season, despite the fact he played very little or minimal fourth quarters and minutes in the fourth quarters. So he is a great player. He is. Like, I'm not going to go too far on him. Next in, the real Donald Trump, back-to-back, the real Don, 1646, back-to-back supers, one bigger than the next. Thank you very much, real Donald. I do appreciate you, Mr. President. Gary, what's the second one from him?
SGA and Luka will carry the torch handed to them by Lil Diddy. The NBA is in trouble. You have SGA flopping and Luka's crying. Wemby can save the NBA, but he's pretending to be taller KD. I don't know what you're talking about there, but that's not true. Are fans now crapping on Wemby because he had a poor offensive output in one game against a really good defense last night? Is that what you are alluding to? Let me know in the chat there, Mr. President Trump.
Yeah, I think, Gary, yes, pretty much, to answer your question. I think the bigger issue, I think the concern that people have with that game last night, or the issue that they have with it, is 8 3-pointers by a 7'4" player. Like, I understand that, but like he does shoot them, he can make them. Just like Jokic, look, the three is a big part of Jokic's game. He shoots like 5 a game on average over the last 2 seasons, does Nikola Jokic, but he shoots them at around 40%. Like he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. And there's such a little way to defend Jokic. Other teams are begging and daring him to shoot those. I think with Wemby, if he's making them, because he can, we've seen him make threes at a prolific rate in games at times. If he's making them, so be it. But if you're 0 of 3, 0 of 5, 0 of 6, maybe if you're 7'4", maybe you eschew the 3-point line at that point and start trying to attack the basket a little bit more. But to your point, though, he is not that big. The Timberwolves are a big physical front line. They do have 7'1" or 2, 270-pound Rudy Gobert, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Maybe that was just the path to least resistance. And maybe just like with Jokic in the series before against Minnesota, maybe he just gets so beat up inside that he's like, oh, and now they're giving me these wide open threes. Like, I guess I'll just take them. Like, it's just so I understand Wembanyama falling into that trap. I think he's going to make the adjustment tomorrow. I do. I think, and to answer the real Don's overall question here, yes, I think the reason why everybody is anointing Wemby, myself included, and so quick to give him so much praise is because we do want him to take the mantle and be the face over SGA, over Luka, over these floppers. Like, we want a competitive guy like Wemby. So that's why I think we built him up to this level at this early age. But Gary, yes, I think that's what he was referring to as the 0 of 8 from the 3-point line yesterday.
I think so too.
Yeah. All right. Next in, we've got Joshua CH9FG. Joshua, what's up, brother? Welcome back in again to you, a regular and a very generous donation. Thank you. I appreciate you very much, Gary. What is the question or comment from Joshua?
Skap, been fan before the Whitlock interview. Question, how would you compare a prime Kobe versus prime LeBron with the same Lakers against this current OKC team in a playoff series? OKC still wins?
So all right, so LeBron's not in prime either right now. He's well past his prime. Prime LeBron or prime Kobe in this series might really make it a series. Kobe more so than LeBron, obviously, in my opinion, Joshua, because prime Kobe versus prime LeBron. Well, prime Kobe is one of the best peak players I've ever seen. I would put Jordan, obviously, Akeem, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant. Like, those are basically like my favorite, like, top peak players in NBA history. Jokic is in the mix, I think. Maybe you can even say Giannis is in the mix. Neither of those guys won enough during their peak to be considered in that convo, though, I don't think. You can make a case, maybe even Akeem didn't, but he was just so elite in his prime. Anyway, peak Kobe, Joshua, was the best or one of the 3 best scorers ever. I think interchangeably in that conversation, Jordan, Kobe, and Wilt. So like in that conversation of those 3 dudes. So, one of the 3 best individual scorers in 70 years of basketball, basketball evidence, or, other players and other eras and so forth. Kobe, I think, withstands the test of all of the era times and stuff. And he was like one of the best perimeter defenders on the planet as well when he was doing that. Like, he led the league in scoring, 35.4 points per game in 05-06 while he was first team All-NBA. There's been 3 guys to lead the NBA in scoring when they were first team All-NBA. Kobe did it twice, Jerry West did it once, and Michael Jordan did it like whatever, probably 9 or 10 times. So that's what peak Kobe was. Like, arguably the best player at his position defensively and the best player overall in the NBA, period. So to me, peak Kobe is always better than peak LeBron. which is one of the major reasons why I have Kobe over LeBron. Because yes, LeBron's longevity and sustainability is undeniably better than Kobe's. But Kobe at peak to me was much better than LeBron. And he won more rings with less help than LeBron had against harder competition than LeBron in less time. So like all of those things coupled with his insane peak is why I've got Kobe as the second best player ever, in my opinion. On this Lakers team, against this Thunder team, I mean, Pete Kobe would have a look at this. I think he would have a look, because no level of the defense that they would throw at Kobe would bother him. Like, as good as this Thunder team is, and they are great, they are by relative defensive rating, which compares not just the amount of points you give up per 100, but the amount of points you give up per 100 compared to the league average in that season. They were at midseason the best relative defense in league history. So they are great. Like, this is a top 5 all-time defense probably. But Kobe saw a lot of all-time great defenses in his time. He went through every year elite defenses. Like, he played maybe the only defense ever that's better than this one, the 2004 Pistons in the finals. He did not fare well in that series. But he, quite frankly, this team, come on in, little girl. This team for the Lakers might be more equipped with a prime Kobe than that Laker team was against that Pistons team. They had just Kobe and Shaq and nothing else. So Shaq just stood in the lane and clogged up, kept attention in the lane, in the paint. And then Kobe had no room to operate on drives or anything. They had no shooters. So I'm not saying, look, Shaq is way better than any other teammate he would have on this team, but just the depth of shooters and so forth, and other good, like DeAndre Ayton was pretty good in the paint defensively tonight. Marcus Smart was excellent on the perimeter. You put prime defensive Kobe Bryant on the perimeter with Marcus Smart, that's pretty hard to score on for the Thunder. So Kobe would have a look in this series. I really do believe that. All right, we go from Joshua to the B-Baller Show. What is happening, B-Baller Show? Welcome into you. Gary, what is this in response to our earlier conversation about physiques, which I love to talk about. Gary, quite frankly, I'm a straight man. I just want to put that out there. I don't look, no judgment if you're not, but I am. I'm just saying that as a preface to my next comment. One of my favorite things, I love talking about men's physiques, Gary. I love talking about muscularity, working out. I've been working out myself for about 2 or 3 years now, for like 5 to 7 days a week over that span of time. So one of my favorite topics of conversation. So let's see what the B-Baller Show has to talk about on these bodies.
I think he's agreeing with my point. He says Tim Duncan had Robinson to take on big bodies.
And that's fair. And so does Chet have Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, that's why they went out and got him. Chet was an elite defender already when he came in. He's now second in Defensive Player of the Year this year. Look, if Wemby missed one more game or whatever, Chet Holmgren would have been the Defensive Player of the Year by virtue of Wemby not being eligible for year-end awards. So, like, Chet is a great defender, but he can't play the big physical guys, really. So now when you throw Hartenstein, so like Hartenstein can bang with the bigs, and then Chet can come over and help at the rim. That's impossible. Like, that's what makes them so good. Then figure that they've got like the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, like the 3 best perimeter defenders in the NBA on that team. So it's like, that's why their team is so unstoppable. But maybe Wemby's going to need that. You're thinking maybe he's just going to keep getting bigger and stronger and he'll be able to take on that component himself. Maybe he will, Gary, maybe. Or maybe they got to get a big, like Jokic. See, Jokic can bang with big dudes, but he can't defend the rim. So they need like a skinny rim defender dude that's athletic for the Nuggets. Jokic could bang with the big dudes, and then someone can come over from the weak side and help protect the rim if he gets beat, or whenever the perimeter guys get beaten out on the perimeter. So maybe Wemby can do it all in once by himself, but like, he does need a couple years to keep growing and getting stronger before he can do that.
That's why I've been saying they're a piece away. They either need like a stretch forward that can play defense and shoot, or a power forward who's a big body and can work with Wemby in the paint. That's why I keep saying we're one piece away.
And that it's a fair point. It's good to be one piece away. Unlike the Thunder are no pieces away, the Nuggets are like 6 pieces away. So it's good to be just one piece away ultimately. All right, next in we've got Too Many Clamps again for another one. Thank you very much for coming back in to the sponsor area. Gary, what's he got this time for us?
Wemby has a year or two before the league catches up, gets bigger, and he will keep getting pushed around even more than now. His window is already closing.
I don't believe that at all. I think this now look, there may be a response. Look, there is a response to Nikola Jokic. Like Jokic was dominating, even though they weren't winning, but he didn't have Jamal Murray or whatever. The league looked out and said, like, oh, well, we better load up with multiple bigs. Like the Thunder have Chet and Hartenstein. The Timberwolves went from Rudy and Cat to Rudy and, Randall and Naz Reid. And, maybe, and look, the Spurs, Gary, his name is eluding me, but the Spurs went and spent $40 million on a center. Cornette,
Luke Cornette.
Yeah. So like the Spurs do have a second big. They could play 2 bigs if they want. Maybe that's an adjustment they'll make moving forward in this series against Minnesota. Maybe they stack big for big if they get through this series against Oklahoma City. So look, it's good. Like I like the bigger players now coming back into prominence, and maybe bigger, stronger, more physical players coming back. And look, Gary mentioned it earlier about how this looks like these playoffs are looking more like it looked like in the 90s and 2000s. The drop in relative net rating from regular season to playoffs, and the drop in total points per game averaged from the regular season to the playoffs, it is the biggest drop since 1971. So like the fact that it's a lot different right now in the playoffs than it was in the regular season. And I also saw that 68% of shots in the playoffs to this point are, quote, heavily contested, which is the most since tracking of that data started in 2014. So like as minimalistic as the defense has been in recent years, and it has been non-existent, it's really gearing up in these playoffs. Like teams that are left are full of athletes and defensively minded guys. So like that's really the future. Too Many Clamps. Like if you want to compete for championships in 2027 and beyond, you better have a bunch of athletic dudes that love to play defense, because if not, you're going to get embarrassed in the playoffs like the Denver Nuggets did. All right, next in we've got 1B Zilla. What's up, 1B Zilla? All right, Gary, he's got some pushback on us talking about Wemby adding some muscle. What's he got?
Weight for Wemby could mean back or knee problems, which I agree with, but that's what I was saying. The Spurs are monitoring him closely. If he starts to put on too much weight and it's causing pain, they'll get the weight back off. This is not going to be a Yao Ming type situation.
Right. And like Zion Williamson, look, he carries a different kind of weight than muscle, but like some of his injuries and inavailability is circling around the fact that he's too heavy. Like obviously his weight is different from muscle weight, but like he is also though very big and muscular as well. Like in addition to probably hitting the buffet lines a little too much, he does carry a lot of muscularity. Like when I remember watching him as a McDonald's High School All-American in the dunk contest, and I was blown away at how big and muscular that guy was, and how I think he dunked from the free throw line in the McDonald's High School All-American dunk contest, and he was like 6'7", 240 or something already as like an 18-year-old. So, but like he's hurt all the time. So like maybe there is something to getting too big. Like Gary, there was a guy, David Boston. He was a wide receiver in the NFL years ago. And he was a good wide receiver, but the guy, he put on too much muscle. He was a cartoon character by the time and he just burned out of the NFL. Like he was like whatever, he was like 205, 210 when he came out of college, like 6'3", 6'4". He was like 250 or something by the time he busted out of the NFL. His biceps, he was like a professional bodybuilder by the time, and it was just too much. So there is such a thing as like some of these guys go too far, and it's to the detriment, and their body, frankly, can't carry that much weight. Like their body isn't meant, their frame isn't meant genetically to carry that much weight. So you don't want to overdo it if you're Wembanyama. I'll give you that one, Bzilla, but some kind of mixture. Like if he could get around a little, not quite, Giannis is a freak. Not quite that, but if he can get like a little more slender or slimmer kind of Giannis body type, Gary, to your point, I think that would be the direction that he wants to go in. All right, we've got Ruthless Raider back in talking about his bowel movements and equating them to LeBron again for like a fifth night in a row. Thank you very much, Ruthless Raider, for that and for your continued support and activity in here with us. Gary, what's the question or comment from Ruthless Raider?
Will a steaming pile be swept by OKC?
I think so. And Ruthless, look, no one likes to laugh at LeBron as much as me and you, obviously, but he played a great game tonight. As like someone in me who finds ways to pick faults and criticize him no matter what, basically, I can say practically nothing wrong about him tonight. He played a very, very good game. And at 41, a game that was certainly good enough to win, but only 90 points for the rest of the team. At one point, I think he had scored or assisted on 37 of the Lakers, like 73 points. But 90 points, not enough for the Lakers. And a C game for the Thunder. The Lakers were pretty good with they had 17 turnovers, but it wasn't alarming or egregious. It didn't seem like, not for some games I watched the Thunder play against opponents. And they did great against Shea. I think, yeah, this could be sweep city, to answer your question, Ruthless Raider. I think the Lakers, I'd be surprised if they get one game in this series with what I saw tonight. Okay, 1B Zilla is back in yet again. Gary, go ahead with this one. This is more, there seems to be a lot. Obviously, these were sent at the time we were quibbling over Wemby and stuff. So these are just some that were falling now in that spectrum. So let's get this latest one from 1B Zilla on that topic.
Gary think Wemby going to be Embiid size by year 5. I didn't say that. He already has blood clot issues. More weight mean more clot risk.
I don't really think about it in that capacity. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Ultimately, I don't play one on YouTube live streams either. So I don't know if that's true or not. If more muscle means more blood clot risk. I mean, certainly more like if fat or whatever would mean more blood clot risks. But I don't know that adding muscularity would do that. I despite the fact I do not have any medical background, I would push back against that premise. And yeah, I don't think, look, Embiid was just bigger, obviously, when he came in. Like, again, some of these guys just have bigger body types than Victor Wembanyama. So like, ultimately, he's not going to get to be some of these guys' sizes, but like, if he can get bigger, if he can get near 250 or 255, like when he came in the league, I think he was like 210 or something like that. Like he was like 7'2", 210 or something. Now I think he's 7'4", like 235. So if he can get to like 255 or something like that, okay. I think that would be like a good weight for him to nestle in. And I think that would improve, what we're seeing. And to Gary's point, him being bullied around somewhat in the post. I think that would be a good weight to strive for over the next couple of years. 5 or 10 pounds every off season over the next like 2 or 3 seasons. All right, Joshua is back in again with another thought, I think, on Wemby. So Gary, go ahead with this latest one on Wemby.
Gary, I understand how you feel about Wemby. I was a VC fan and nope. Let me try to get through this. I was a Vince Carter fan and prayed he was Jordan/Kobe level. Never happened. Wemby averaged 29 minutes, says everything. That won't cut it in the playoffs. Okay, I'm saying Vince Carter. They were just hyped up because of how great of a dunker he was. He was never going to be close to Jordan or Kobe. That would be total fool's gold. So I don't like that comparison because I think Wemby's ceiling is way higher for the totality of NBA hierarchy than Vince Carter. Vince Carter may be the GOAT dunker. So a lot of people say that he's the GOAT dunker, even better than Jordan or Dominique. I don't know. That's a debate for another day, but he's definitely in that top tier as a dunker. And he's a very good player, and he's a lot of fun. And you know, Skap, I think that when players are a lot of fun, I think sometimes the media will hype that up to your point about look how they're saying Wemby's ready now. Well, Wemby is so much fun, and Vince Carter was also a ton of fun. Anthony Edwards is a ton of fun. So when you have like really fun players, there can be a tendency to exaggerate on how good they really are.
Gary, I want to say this. Vince Carter had a great career. He's probably, let me see here. Okay, Vince Carter is not a top 75 all-time player. He was not on the list. I wanted to check that. I was going to say he was a fringe top 75 all-time player. I checked. He was not selected to that 75th anniversary team in 2021. He is probably pretty high up on the NBA all-time scoring list because he played, remember, till he was 43 years old. His last year. So LeBron, 41 right now? Vince Carter, age 43. Obviously, he was a shell of himself those last several years. But he's got to be very high on the list. He's 24th. My guess would be top 20, so I would have been wrong on that, but close to top 20. 24th, put in between Alex English and Kevin Garnett. Below a couple of notable players, Steph Curry, Tim Duncan, Paul Pierce, John Havlicek, just above on the all-time scoring list. So Vince Carter, a decorated career, but yeah, his height never really reached the levels. Like Victor Wembanyama is 22, and he's going to be first-team All-NBA. Like Vince Carter never once made first-team All-NBA in 22 years. He was third-team All-NBA his second year in the league. Vince Carter ceilinged out early on. Like probably his best year in the NBA came in his third season in the league, age 24, 28 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 4 assists. He was second-team All-NBA. That was his best year. And really, he finished 10th in MVP voting in his second year in 99-2000, and he finished 11th in MVP voting in 2000-2001. So, like, Vince Carter, not a great comp, I don't think, for Victor Wembanyama. I'm with Gary on this one. Like, Wembanyama is already first-team All-NBA defense, first-team All-NBA, MVP 2 in his third year at 22. So, like, this is already better than Vince Carter's best year ever was. So, yeah, I think you're going a little too far on that one, Joshua.
But we do like Joshua, but we do like Vince. So I'm not trying to throw shade on your boy. If that's your favorite player, that's cool. I'm just saying his ceiling is just not as high as Wemby's is.
Yeah, and look, Vince he entered the league, actually, he was older, 22 years old when he entered the league. And then basically till his age, like 32 season, so like a 10-year span, basically, he was a pretty elite player. 24 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. So like 24, 6, and 5 in an NBA that was much harder to score in, by the way. But then like the back half of his career from like 32 to 43, just like he's just, he was all right, 10 points per game for that span of time. So like the second half, like the second 10 plus years of his career, just like an 11 point per game scorer. So, but Vince Carter was a great player. I liked him a lot. He is probably the best dunker of all time. Maybe the best in-game dunker. Definitely the best dunk contest dunker in my estimation. Okay, but that was just Joshua. We've got 1B Zilla in next. Again, what's up, 1B Zilla? I'll take this one real quick, Gary. It's a short one. Wemby is a goaltending praying mantis. I just wanted to read that because it was funny. Wemby is a goaltending praying mantis, and Gary is giving the thumbs up. So for those of you who did not know or catch this in the news cycle today, the Wolves are pretty butthurt on those 12 blocks. So Victor Wembanyama set the all-time NBA record with 12 blocks, breaking a three-way tie between Mark Eaton, Akeem Olajuwon, and Andrew Bynum. They each had 10 blocks, and Wemby had 12 last night. But the Timberwolves are saying at least 4 of them were goaltended. So Chris Finch is saying that there should have been at least 8 more points on the board for the Wolves. And then the Wolves are also saying that he fouled on another half of them. So basically, like of the 12 blocks, they're saying like it should have really only been 8 because 4 were goaltends, and then 4 of those 8 were fouls. So there's a lot of butthurtedness from the Timberwolves today about those blocks. And keep in mind, they won the game. Like, think about how much sour grapes the Timberwolves would have on those blocks if they lost that game. But yes, some of them in hindsight, I will say, looked close to goaltends. And there was a block tonight, Gary, in the game for the Lakers Thunder game that I was watching. Jackson Hayes for the Lakers had a block in like the middle third quarter that looked like, I was like, oh my, and it was called a goaltend. I was like, oh my God, maybe half of those were goaltends by Wembanyama last night. Like if that Jackson Hayes block was a goaltend, like it looked like a good block to me. But like it was an easy, like a quick call on the floor by the officials for a goaltend. And I was like, seeing that by comparison of some of the stuff I saw last night, I was like, maybe there were like 4 or 5 goaltends in there. What do you think about that? Do you think he got away with some? Do you think they're going to call it closer in game 2, or do you think they were mostly good?
You know, they're so close, I can't quite tell. I think a few of them probably could go either way. To be honest, I was just so overwhelmed by watching that game last. I was so excited. Like I said earlier, I felt like I'm watching old school basketball again. I feel like it's coming back. So I'm just so excited. And I didn't really even, I mean, obviously I'm going for the Spurs, but I don't care who wins. I just want my old basketball back. And I'm excited because I feel like I'm getting that. So it was a win-win for me. The only way I would have been mad last night was if the refs made a bad call and I know a lot of Spurs fans were ticked off because they're saying, why didn't Mitch Johnson call a timeout with 7 seconds when the Spurs got the rebound? I actually like it. Go down, get in position. Because I've said this, they're developing. So this is the perfect situation. The most pressure you can be under in the playoffs, game on the line. They're going to be better in that next situation. So I appreciate that. This is the time to make your mistakes, get them out, and be ready for the future.
Yeah, I actually I like the no timeout there in that situation, especially because Minnesota's a good defense. If you take the timeout, you can set a play potentially, but you also give the defense the opportunity to set up on their end, and they can maybe even, I don't know, with the timeout situation, if Finch had a timeout, you could have saw what the setup was, then you take a timeout and address that. So I actually like going on the fly. The defense is on their heels. Look, the Spurs got a great shot. That was a great shot. They just didn't make it. Like the NBA is a make or miss league sometimes. Like they very, very nearly pulled that game out with that really good look at the corner. So I have no problem with just letting them go there at the end and freelance for that final possession. We've got Chet. Oh boy.
Chet, you betcha.
Chet, you betcha. Okay, so is this going to be maybe an OKC fan? Chet, you betcha is in. I'll take this one, Gary. It's a quick one. OKC benefited from Clip's terrible trade with PG-13. Well, yeah, one of the worst trades in NBA history. Now, in hindsight, looking back on it, look, Luka Doncic, we'll say, is maybe the worst trade ever in NBA history. That one goes down. That one goes right up there in the mix. Like they gave the Clippers gave the Thunder Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and like 8 draft picks. Like I'm spitting all over myself right now because I'm so stupefied and dumbfounded by the fact that they gave them SGA and like 10 picks or whatever it was for Paul George, who isn't even on the team anymore. And I think they won a total of 2 playoff series in Paul George's entire tenure. One of the very worst trades we will ever see, Chet, you betcha. Next in is Ruthless Raider 78. Gary, I kind of want to read this one too, just because I want to say Lashart from Ruthless Raider 78. Greatest non-Lashart moment as an NBA fan. Interesting. For me, for asking me, well, obviously, because yes, the 2011 NBA Finals, where Lashart did Lashart all over himself in the NBA Finals, is very high up on my totem pole of favorite NBA moments. But I do have a lot of other great moments. I guess I can't say Jokic beating LeBron, sweeping him in the West Finals, because that again includes LeBron. But of course, me being a big Kobe Bryant fan, I have a lot of favorite Kobe Bryant moments. Michael Jordan, game 6, 1998 NBA Finals, the quick score layup, then he came down, stripped Karl Malone at the other end, came down, hit the game-winning shot with about 5 seconds left, the crossover over Byron Russell, that left the hand up there. Like I was in like the 8th grade when that happened. That really is indelibly imprinted in my memory banks as one of my all-time favorite moments. The Kobe Bryant 81 game, the Kobe Bryant winning his championship in 2010, his 5th championship in 2010 over the Celtics. That game, that comeback, they were down 13 mid-third. They had like 40 points mid-third. It just looked very bleak of an outlook, and him getting that. And then I was in Staples Center. Let me get this date right. I think it was April 13th, 2016, maybe April 12th. Kobe Bryant's last career game ever, where he scored 60 points on the Utah Jazz. I was in the building in Staples, and it was a surreal moment, a surreal setting, and one of the best moments of my entire life. So like those moments are on the short list of my favorite moments that do not include LeBron James in NBA history. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, you can't exclude me. David Robinson is soft. The San Antonio Spurs are notorious chokers. They choke every year. No championships. And then, on Memorial Day, Sean Elliott changed the direction of the franchise on one of the greatest shots in NBA history. That has to be one of my favorite moments in NBA history since I've been watching.
I remember that shot well at the time. It was like he kind of fumbled the ball a little bit, or didn't fumble, but he kind of had, and then he was kind of tipping his toes around the line. And I remember that shot very, very well.
That's when I started believing we may be something.
That is a very good moment. And Sean Elliott, good player. Big fan of Sean Elliott. He was a solid player. That was a nice. I also liked Avery Johnson, was another one of your. I liked him a lot too. Okay, so the famous favorite Lashart, non-Lashart moment. Okay, we've got the out of pocket variety show now. What's up? Welcome in. I'm told I'm capping. Go ahead, Gary. Let's see what I'm capping about.
Well, he hasn't accused you of capping. He's accusing you of potential future capping. So it's up to you, Skap, if you're going to cap or not. Skap, don't cap. So let's get to the truth on this. 2016 Cavs versus last year's Thunder team. Who wins and in how many games?
Oh boy. Well, LeBron was in the peak of his powers at that point. They had Kyrie Irving, who was crazy elite as well. But last year's team, healthy J-Dub, obviously not healthy this year. They've got McCain this year. They've got AJ Mitchell this year, but they sacrifice J-Dub. So we're talking last year's team. I'm taking the Thunder. I think the Thunder, this Thunder team is so uniquely positioned with their bench depth and the fact that they have elite top line defenders all the way through, like from 1 through like 9. Like, not only are these guys, they can score and make threes, but it's mainly their elite top level defense. And I guess, look, LeBron would have been the one maybe defending, like, who would have defended Shea? If Shea and LeBron and Kyrie and J-Dub, if like they're going back and forth essentially in scoring, but like it's just such a much better defensive team, the Thunder. Like, their defense is just so good. They've got size. Like I said, they've got Chet, who's a defensive player of the year candidate, and Hartenstein, who's an elite defender. And then they've got like 3 or 4 of the best perimeter defenders on the planet. Like, it's just hard. It's hard to beat this team. It's hard to play perfect for 4 straight games against them with all the pressure they throw at you. So I would say the Thunder would win that series, and I would say the Thunder in 6 would be my pick over that Cavs team. Maybe 5, possibly 5. So I don't know if you like that answer or not, out of pocket, but let Gary know if I capped or not. Ruthless Raider 78 is back in yet again. Gary, I'm just going to take this one off you too. I want to read this one too. Make no mistake, Zion is still a McDonald's All-American. I see what you did there, Ruthless Raider, because he's fat. That's what you did, because he can't stay away from the fast food and the buffet lines, and he keeps exploding his lower body because he's like 60 pounds overweight, despite the fact he's played in 30-some games at max every year, and he's made like $300 million already, and he's like 26 or 27 years old. So, yeah, you're right, Ruthless Raider 78. He is still a McDonald's All-American. That is a good one, Ruthless. All right, the Human Fun CEO he's got Costanza in now as the avatar. Perfect. He took my advice and put Costanza in. Thank you very much. Love the Human Fun CEO handle. Love the avatar. Gary, go ahead with the question or comment from him tonight.
Hi, Skap. What Kobe card is that behind you? Why not grade it?
It's funny you should mention. So this is, I'll just hold it up actually so you can see. I'll try to keep it out of the light. This is the only one I have back there right now. It's an upper deck. There are 2 generally behind me, 2 more. So I typically have 3. One of them is a fairly, I would say, valuable Kobe rookie card. It is my wife actually works for a appraisal, not an appraisal company, a grading company. They don't appraise anything, but they set the grades that are used then in appraisals and auctions and so forth. So she actually took those cards to get graded and sleeved or whatever with the grade. So once it comes back, I will have those 2 behind me as well. And I will show you those as well on camera, and you can check those out. The good eye, though, noticing that was indeed a Kobe card. I think the other one, I think she took 2, and I think they were both Kobe rookie cards. And I just have them from when I was very young. Like I didn't acquire them or anything. Oh, Gary's showing me something. Go ahead, Gary. Unmute yourself. What is that?
This is a Bowman Victor Wembanyama rookie card, and it is in fact graded. but it's in plastic. I don't want to take that out to protect it, but just wanted to show that real quick.
Nice, Gary. Where now? How did you get it? What's the story? How did you acquire that? Did you get it? Like, have you had it since his first year? Did you get it recently? Like, where and how did you get it?
I just bought it off eBay like a year ago as an investment in case this guy's career does blow up. I figure it'll be valuable in the future.
Nice. Okay, next in we've got, of course, my main guy, Stefan Piscano. What is up? Shout out Vacation Wealth Partners, a good friend to the show here, a friend personally. Great to have him here as always. I know he's typically on these. He's on the West Coast, so they fit well with his nightly schedule, I'm sure. Stefan, what's up, my friend? Gary, what's the question or comment from him tonight?
I don't have any good hot takes today, but happy Cinco de Mayo, Skap and Gary. R.I.P. Kobe. LaSissy sucks and Russ is better than Chrissy Everett Paul.
We did have that big Chris Paul, Russ Westbrook debate the other night. I'm a big, as everyone knows, I'm a big supporter of Russ and, of course, of Kobe. So Kobe, obviously, yes, I echo that. R.I.P. Kobe, and yes, LaSissy does suck. So this, as always, Stefan is spot on with this. And a very happy Cinco de Mayo to you as well. It was, can you get any better than Cinco de Mayo falling on a Taco Tuesday? Like, I don't think so, personally. I wish I could play the LeBron Taco Tuesday drop right now to tie this whole super chat together with LaSissy and Cinco de Mayo and tacos. So yes, I know I had my tacos today. I had 3. There's a place near me here where I live called the Guac Shop, which I am obsessed with. I don't know if this is a national chain or if they're just specific to the Florida area, but the Guac Shop, they have amazing deals. I accrue these points. I have like a ridiculous amount of points. They have daily deals as well. They pack your tacos or your burritos or your bowls. They pack them full of the stuff. And I'm not a meat eater. They have a nice little tofu option for me as well. So I had my 3 tacos from the Guac Shop tonight on Cinco de Mayo, Stefan. But I did not have, unfortunately for me, I did not have any margaritas. So I did not pair that with my tacos on the Cinco de Mayo. Stefan, hopefully you did get a margarita or 2 in you, and you hopefully cheers to Kobe on that front. Thank you as always for coming in. Go, Gary.
What is your favorite food, Skap?
It's a great question, Gary. My favorite food is, it's so easy to say what it is. If I didn't have like an overwhelming sense of pride in my physique, and let's just be honest, I do have a little bit of vanity playing in on that. So shame is the only thing that stops me from shame and other health issues. Like I don't want to have a grabber and die when I'm 50 years old. So shame and health issues stop me from eating pizza for every single meal. Otherwise, I could 100%. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between. I could eat pizza every single day without ever varying that up, without changing it ever. Like it's not close, definitely pizza. Other than that, I do love Mexican, big Mexican fan. I also like Mediterranean food and Indian food. Big fan of Indian as well. But the number one thing, pizza for sure. Good question.
How often do you eat pizza?
Not quite once a week. Maybe 3 times a month, 2 to 3 times a month. I try to limit myself, but here lies the problem. There's always leftovers. So like I will then have
What toppings do you like?
No toppings, Gary. I don't eat meat, as you know. So I typically am a cheese guy only. I will go with some like veggie special at times. Like I'll get like mushrooms, spinach, whatever, like that kind of stuff. Or I like white pizza sometimes that has like like the tomato and the white sauce, whatever. And then maybe I don't know. Not too frequently would I do a margarita, but sometimes I might be in the mood. But mainly though, cheese. And then I got hooked on. I went to Penn State for my college career, and there was this place called Canyon Pizza on College Avenue. And at the time I got there, they had ranch dressing at the end of the counter after you checked in, and I was like, I had no idea what ranch and pizza was when I started my collegiate career at Penn State. And then one drunken night, friends of mine urged me, like, bro, you got to try the ranch. And now 20 plus years later, I can't get off the ranch. So plain cheese pizza with ranch dressing is pretty much my main go-to. Okay, next in, great question though, Gary. Wolfsbane is in next. Go ahead, Gary, with this latest question from Wolfsbane.
Which current big should the Hawks trade or draft for?
Oh boy. Well, listen, full disclosure, I love the NFL as well. The NFL and the NBA have been like my two of my big passions my whole life. Never really got that into college football or college basketball. So I am typically never up on the draft stocks of different players. Like, of course, I know the Cooper Flags and stuff, like the big guy, like the Victor Wembanyama's, the Luka Doncic's. Of course, I know of them. But in terms of like mock drafts or like the top 15 picks or whatever, I don't really know. I can't speak intelligently enough about what I would suggest that you draft, as like a big. But I do want to just canvass the free agent market right now, and see outside of trades, because free agents are always the preferred directive, I think, or the preferred direction. It's crazy to see LeBron James on here as a free agent. Look at some of these free agents this year. LeBron James, Zach LaVine, Trae Young, James Harden, Chris Middleton. Oh, Kristaps Porzingis. Been there, tried that, right? Wolfsbane, am I right? CJ, whoa, what? Isaiah Hartenstein? That can't be right. Let me just look at the Oklahoma City Thunder contracts, if I may. There's no way he's free. This list has to be wrong that I'm looking at. It's a team option. So Isaiah Hartenstein is on a team. Hey, maybe we just found our answer, Wolfsbane. Isaiah Hartenstein on a team option for 1 year at only $28 million. Maybe they're going to be looking to offload him before he walks and they lose him for nothing. I would certainly explore that if I were any team that needs a big. Isaiah Hartenstein could be a really great player, I think, in the NBA. He's just one of the pieces on the Thunder, and he kind of gets lost in that whole thing. But honestly, I think he could be one of the great bigs in the NBA if he was like featured more. Looking at there's really not a lot of good bigs out there, quite frankly.
What about in the upcoming draft?
Yeah, I already spoke to that, Gary. I'm not. Yusuf Nurkic is a free agent. He might be an interesting band-aid. Little old in the tooth, 31 years old now. Same with Vucevic is old, and he's like 35. Nikola Vucevic is also free. Yeah, not a lot of great centers on the market. You might maybe have to entertain some kind of a trade situation, if not in the draft. Gary, like I said, I am not really dialed into the college game, like not enough to speak to bigs.
Me either.
I really just know like the top couple guys every year. But yes, I would look into if I were canvassing a trade, maybe Hartenstein is a team that you could look into on that front. I know the Nuggets should be looking at rim protectors as well. But yes, Wolfsbane, I think you are. We've talked the last couple of days. I think you are one big away from moving to the next level. I don't know if they need to be a great scoring big or just a great defensive big, though. Either way, Isaiah Hartenstein scratches a lot of itches, I think. So I would at least reach out. The Machiavelli 1999, interesting handle name there. Machiavelli, welcome in. Thanks for being here, Gary. I'll read this one real quick. Love the YouTube daily vids. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Very generous of you to give us this nice sponsorship just to say that you love the vids. I love you for being here, for supporting, and for watching those vids daily. Shout out to you, and I will, of course, always profoundly appreciate your ongoing support and for tuning in every day. Thank you. Let's see here. Next in, we've got Isaac LYK. And what's up, Isaac? Welcome back in to the show. Gary, did I miss? I don't think, did I skip one there? I think I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go up one.
I skipped Ruthless Raider. Yeah, I'm sorry. Gary, go ahead with Ruthless Raider 78. I'm sorry to jump over you, Ruthless Raider. You've been, as always, very prolific on this super chat. So thank you for your donations. Gary, what's the question or comment from him this time?
Nice job on Fearless, Skap. You were dropping gems like I dropped bowl breakers on the daily. Also off topic for a quick second. Who's winning the AFC North this upcoming season?
I'd like to see what the odds are, actually, or if they're even out. I don't know. Yeah, I guess not really quite set yet. Obviously, my Steelers are in that division. The Browns, a perpetual laughing stock. We can just go ahead and remove them from the conversation, too, in my estimation. This is a conversation that will always really percolate around two teams, the Ravens and the Bengals. I am a big Bengals guy. I have been for years just because I love Joey Burrow. Joey Burrow, one of the best college. I say I'm not that dialed into college athletes, but he had a crazy run with LSU and a crazy wide receiving core at LSU. And that team is one of the best teams, I think, at the college level we've seen in some time. And I think Burrow would have won the Super Bowl if he didn't hurt his knee the year they lost to the Rams and Stafford got that ring. Burrow is one of the few to beat Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes, of course, has lost to Jalen Hurts in a Super Bowl, Tom Brady in a home AFC championship game and in a Super Bowl. And then the only other guy he's lost to in his playoff career is Joey Burrow. And Burrow beat him in, I believe it was at Kansas City in the AFC championship game. So immense respect to Joey Burrow. They've got an elite amount of offensive weaponry, trash O-line around him by and large every year, and a trash defense. But I think this year is the year that the Bengals are going to string it together and win the North. I know the Ravens will likely be the pick and the favorite. Maybe they should be. But as everyone who knows me and my football takes knows, I do not respect or think very highly of Lamar Jackson, while I do think a lot of Joe Burrow. So I'll go with the Bengals, Ruthless Raider, in answer to that question. Okay, the Machiavelli 1999 is back in again with another very generous donation here. This time it will contain a question or a comment, Gary. So let's hear what it is from the Machiavelli.
Would you trade Christian Braun and Aaron Gordon to the Miami Heat for Kelly Ware, Andrew Wiggins, and Devon Mitchell?
You know, I've been seeing a lot of these trade proposals and scenarios percolating around, and I really don't like the stuff surrounding the Heat. I don't like it. Aaron Gordon, while very injury prone, is one of really their most valuable trade chips. This one is interesting because it does involve getting Christian Braun off the books, and I do hate that contract so much. Now, there is word coming out. Christian Braun is getting crushed on the internet right now. Crushed. Because he had comments about how he's the leader of the team and how they need more from him because he's the leader and stuff. So But in addition to that, which is a hilarious quote by him, there's also word that he hurt his calf early in the series against the Timberwolves and didn't want to use it as an excuse. And he was already dealing with bad ankle injury from the season, which he did. He missed like 2 months with an ankle injury, which is very odd. Like even a high ankle sprain is like 6 weeks. He missed nearly 2 months. I think he stripped ligament off the ankle and he came back, and then he hurt the hand, the calf, and so whatever. He had a really, really bad playoffs here. 8 points, 42% shooting on a $25 million contract for the next 5 years, starting next year. So look, maybe he's going to be much better next year. He better be. But so right now, I hate that contract. So this scenario is interesting because it includes getting Brown off the books. I just assume you can't get rid of Brown because the contract's so bad. I would look to, there's news about the Celtics, like maybe Aaron Gordon for Derek White is a possibility. I don't think so. I think the Celtics would say no to that. But if that would be an option, the salaries are basically a match. The ages they're the same age. Aaron Gordon's actually a year younger than Derek White. I think Aaron Gordon, if healthy, would provide something to Boston that would be valuable in place of Derek White. And I think Derek White absolutely would be a much, much better asset for the Nuggets. He's available. He plays good perimeter defense. He can facilitate some as well. So that's a trade I would be really interested in for Aaron Gordon. Otherwise, look, the Celtics might just say, look, if Tatum was healthy and we had him all year, we likely would have won the East. So we're just going to run it back. So I understand that. Looking at the teams that I would target for trades would be teams that failed in the first round, that are far away, that are looking to get better. Teams like the Suns and teams like the Magic that seem to be good matches for the Nuggets and have things that the Nuggets need. I would try to trade Aaron Gordon to the Suns, and then I would try to trade Jamal Murray to the Magic. And I would just bring in athletic 3-and-D dudes or athletic guys that score like 10 to 12, 15 points a game, and just try to expand my roster. Have like 7 or 8 guys that basically all of them are athletic and can play defense other than Jokic and other than Christian Brown, who even Christian Brown, when he's healthy, is okay at defense. And then they'll have Peyton Watson presumptively too, and Cam Johnson. So I would keep Cam Johnson, keep Peyton Watson. I don't think they could get rid of Brown. Then I would trade Gordon or try to like the Suns. And then I would look at the Magic for Jamal Murray. And look, we'll see if Detroit goes out in this round. They're up 1-0, so the verdict's out on that. But if they lose next round to the Knicks, I think they probably just run it back. If they lose this round, they might be looking to make some moves. Maybe Jamal Murray would be an option for them, and the Nuggets could get some of their nice defensive pieces. But I honestly, I do not. I've seen a couple Miami Heat suggestions. Most of them involve Tyler Hero, which I absolutely hate. I don't want any part of him or that contract. This one would be a little more intriguing. The package is a little bit better in my estimation from them, and they get rid of Brown. So I would consider it, but ultimately no. Not if those other teams would be interested in making a deal with me. All right, Isaac.
Trade Jamal Murray for Stephon Castle.
Of course I would do that, Gary. I know you guys wouldn't do that at this point, of course. Yeah, that guy, because he could be an elite offensive player too. He's an elite defender that can play offense too. I'm not even expecting. We talked about off the top of this about people with fan bases with unrealistic expectations of packages. I'm being realistic with what the Nuggets can get for these pieces. Like, it's not going to be anything great, but there's sometimes less is more. Like, if you get lesser looking pieces, but you get more of them and they actually play defense, that's way better. And it takes the Nuggets in a way better direction than where they're at right now. All right, Isaac LYK is back in. Gary, I'll take this one since it's such a brief one. OKC shouldn't be letting old man Braun score so much. Yeah, I mean, 27 points on, I think, 13 of 17 tonight is what it was. Let me just confirm. I think 27 on 12 of 17 and 3 of 6 from 3. And again, only a -6, like a game they lost by 18. So actually a good performance by old man Braun tonight. Again, I'm not going to be too overly harsh or critical of him. They're going to lose more than likely in 4 in this series, maybe 5. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does moving forward. I think there will be sentiment. I thought in the middle of the season, it was a 0% that LeBron would be back in LA, 0. But now, the way the season has gone, how good they looked in March when they were all healthy, and now with them winning the one series without Luka and playing okay tonight, they might want to run it back now, maybe. I thought it was a 0. Now, I'd say it's 50-50 that LeBron comes back to LA for another year next year at a discount, maybe like $30 million. Maybe they give Austin Reeves. Now, Austin Reeves has to take a little less because of how he's played in this postseason. Maybe AR gets like 35, 40 mil a year. LeBron takes 30 mil and they get something else in free agency. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting offseason for several teams this year. Next in is the out of pocket variety show. Okay, look. He was asking if I was going to cap. So, he's saying I don't cap. Okay, go ahead, Gary. Go ahead and read out of pocket variety show. Thank you very much. I don't think I cap. So I'm appreciative, because my Skap attack rhymes with cap. People call me Cap Attack a lot. I don't think I do. So thank you, Gary. Go ahead and read this latest very generous donation from the Out of Pocket Variety Show.
I was saying you don't cap. All respect. Also, I made an all 25 years playoff bracket, and to make it more interesting, no Braun, Kobe, or Curry teams to eliminate fan base bias. Would you check it out?
I would. Out of Pocket Variety Show. Just go ahead to the regular chat if you're still in here. When did he send that? 1:30. So just 15 minutes ago. So hopefully you're still in here. I'm over in the live chat area now. You don't have to send another super chat for this. How can I get it? How can I see this to check this out?
I don't think he.
Okay, he's saying, how do I send it? How do I send it to you? Okay. Do you have a pen here? I will put I have this email address I'm going to write here.
If it's a YouTube channel, I can look it up right now.
It is. It is on my YouTube channel info as well. So I'm not giving anything out that you guys can't find. It is. It's in the info or the description of my channel. There it is. That's my name, j.skapanak@gmail.com. You can feel free to send it to me there. And absolutely out of pocket. I would love to see it. I'm interested to see who comes out on top in an all 25 team that does not include Braun, Kobe, or Curry. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe that Kawhi Toronto team, maybe. Or the Spurs team, the 2014 Kawhi Spurs team that beat the Heat. That team would be hard to beat in my estimation. But anyway, I'd have to think about it more, think it over more, and consider. Obviously, this Thunder team I think would be in the running. Quite frankly, this Thunder team might win such a bracket. I don't know. I'm interested to see it out of pocket. Absolutely, send it my way at that email address. Ruthless Raider 78 is in next. I'll take it, Gary. Will Bronny also take his talents to South Beach? I don't see that, Ruthless Raider. I think Bronny will take his talents to the sofa whenever Pops retires. When LeBron is done in the NBA, I think Bronny's likely also done. Look, he might stick around. He's had a couple not terrible moments in the last couple months that we've seen. Like, he looked like he could almost feasibly be like a bottom of the bench type player, maybe, if you squint your eyes a little bit. So maybe Bronny has a life beyond Pops, but I'd say that's about 50-52 at this point, that Bronny would be taking his talents to the sofa couch when LeBron retires. Go ahead, Gary.
Is Bronny, because he did not deserve it to be there, and all the other bad players in the NBA, they didn't get a free break, except maybe Giannis's brother. Maybe he's in that same tier. But is Bronny possibly the worst NBA player of all time? The worst of all time.
It's certainly plausible. I did a video on Bronny last year where I said he's the worst player of all time because of some crazy statistics that I saw percolating around Bronny at the moment that I made the video. I don't know if he's still the worst player ever. The NBA has a vast history. I mean, Gary, have you seen some of these highlights, by the way, of Kendrick Perkins lately?
I remember him from the past.
Like somebody, I forget who it was that sent me the clip. It might have been my friend Brian, who's not probably watching, but he watches all of my videos. He doesn't watch, I don't think he watches any of my lives, but he watches every single video. Like he's probably one of the few people that could say they've seen every single, I post like 800 videos. He's seen every single one of them. So, but he sent me a highlight reel of Kendrick Perkins and it was crazy how bad he was. Like if he wasn't a huge body, like there's no chance that dude would have been an NBA player. But so there's so many players and so many, I struggle to call Bronny the worst ever, but he's certainly in the short list. I mean, he's in the convo to this point. And to have a fully guaranteed 4-year contract is pretty crazy. I got an email come out. I'm sure it is the Out of Pocket Variety Show. So I will certainly check that out. Out of Pocket. Thank you very much for sending that. I'm intrigued. Perhaps next time I'm on live, we could talk about it. I'll mention it if you're on. So I'll look at it probably on tonight, but tomorrow I'll definitely look into it. Okay, and finally we've got Isaac LYK is in. Gary, go ahead with this question or comment from Isaac. Thank you, Isaac, again for being here as always for me.
Will the Raptors be the Pacers of this playoff run?
Will the Raptors be the Pacers of this playoff run? I don't think so. I'm not Isaac. I'm not sure how. Gary, what do you think Isaac means by this? Can you?
He means because the Pacers kept defying the odds and pulling off upsets. I guess that's what he means. But they just lost.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like they're not in the playoffs anymore. So like that's why I'm confused. I mean, they played really hard in that first round series. I think they played as good as I could have expected or anyone. They took the Cavaliers to 7. It was a competitive game 7. But yeah, last year the Pacers just kept on winning somehow and got all the way to the NBA Finals. Obviously, that's not going to happen for the Raptors this year because they're out. Unfortunately, for my guy Darko Rajakovic, Isaac, are you still here? Do you want to expand on that at all or explain exactly what?
Let me know in the comments, Isaac. I sent you a comment. You don't have to super chat it. I'll keep an eye on the chat. Let me know if you clarify for that, and I'll get it back to Skap for you.
And then next we've got Ruthless Raider 78 again in. I'll take this one again because I just like reading these. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay, he says, I forgot Raptors lost. So he says, I meant whoever Cavs are playing. Well, that would be the Pistons, and the Pistons are a 1 seed, so they can't be, the upset. They're not the underdogs because they're the 1 seed, so.
Right. The Pistons, honestly, the Cavs could maybe be this year's Pacers. Like the Cavs are a team I feel like they did have playoff expectations going in, but it wasn't like they weren't considered one of the favorites. Like I think the Thunder and the Spurs were mentioned first, then the Celtics, then probably Denver and New York were like the 5 teams that most people were expecting to win the championship this year. So, and then maybe the Pistons. So I think the Cavs maybe have an opportunity. If they get into the finals, they would sort of be, to answer your question, this year's Indiana Pacers from last year. And especially because the Cavs were what, the 4 seed, I think, this year? The 4 or the 5? They were the 4. They were the 4 or 5. The Raptors were the 5. So, Yeah, I think that they would probably be the longest. As I'm looking at the brackets right now, the Lakers, the Sixers, and the Cavs are the longest shots. Honestly, the Sixers would be the team that would be this year's Pacers, maybe, that would come out of nowhere. Even though they do have a lot of talent, no one was giving them a chance in the first round. If they come out of that and then they lose by 39 to the Knicks in game one, if they come back from that and win that one and then win the next series against the Pistons or Cavs and get to the championship, that would be the crazy, like, come out of nowhere type Pacers run. All right, go, Gary.
Okay, Isaac, I think you botched the question. So go ahead, give me a replacement question, not in a super chat, just in a regular chat. I'll keep my eye open, and then I'll get it to Skap after he reads this one. So go ahead and send a replacement question.
So Ruthless Raider 78, because I love reading all of the different synonyms for a piece of crap around LeBron's name. I will continue to take Ruthless Raider 78's. Skap, is it honestly that bad for anyone to root for Le Excrement, considering his finals losing record is absolute comedy gold? Well, yeah, to me, the answer is yes. Quite frankly, I just don't root for him or want him to do anything positive or good anymore at this point of his career, because he's already soiled himself. No pun included. Actually, pun absolutely included. He's soiled his career already with all of his antics and shenanigans in bouncing around the league and building all these jacked super teams. Like, he doesn't deserve those 4 rings that he does have. So his legacy is already substantially higher than it should be, because he should have 1 or 2 rings or none. So the fact that he has 4, people already incorrectly elevate him more than what he should be. So any more success would just elevate him even higher, to which he doesn't deserve to be put. So yes, it is absolutely bad form in my estimation. Like I said with Jokic, why I want him to get 1 more ring, because I want what's fair, like Harvey Dent. Like I want what's fair, damn it. And LeBron doesn't deserve to be top 2 consensus in NBA history, which is why it is bad form for anyone to root for success for LeBron, in my opinion. Gary, did you get a second question from Isaac?
No, I haven't heard from him. We are at the end. Okay, here we go. What's Skap's thoughts on what teams could beat OKC?
Okay, so my thoughts on what team could beat OKC. Like this year, again, I really just think it's just the Spurs. Like I get the fact that the Spurs likely wouldn't win that series, and I didn't think they would, but they did. They do match up well. Like, they did beat them 4 times out of 5 in the regular season. They do have the personnel. Wembanyama is an eraser underneath. Like, he owns Chet Holmgren. They have defensive perimeter personnel that can really trouble Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then make him work to get to the basket. But then you've got Wemby there. That's just a tough matchup for them. I think the veteran know-how of how to win games and get over the hump in the playoffs that the Thunder acquired last year would prove pivotal and vital in a matchup against the Spurs. I think ultimately the Thunder would win a 7-game series against the Spurs. It would be a tight, hard-fought series if the Spurs get out, but I don't know that they will. And I still think the Thunder would win that series. Maybe the Timberwolves, I think, again, they beat them by 40 points last year in game 3 in the Western Conference Finals, did Minnesota. Then they lost by 1 point in game 4 against the Thunder. So that could have been a 2-2 series. So maybe the Timberwolves could give them a series too. But ultimately, the answer, though, in my estimation, Isaac, is nobody will beat them. I think those two teams might, but that would be it.
And to Isaac's point, if there is another Pacers team to make an underdog to make a deep run, I think it's the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves are a team, because they're 60, but they're a really good 6 team. They're not a normal 6 team. They would have been higher up if not for some injuries. So the Timberwolves actually could make some noise. They could beat the Spurs. They may lose to the Spurs, but going against OKC, I wish they had been more competitive against OKC last year and against the Mavericks 2 years ago. I really think they botched that. When they beat Denver in 7, I don't know why they lost to the Mavericks. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Just an underwhelming performance. I mean, Luka Doncic, quite frankly, like Luka Doncic, and look, they had a good defensive front line at that point, which really was, it was long, it was big, it was physical, it was athletic. It troubled the Timberwolves. It matched the Timberwolves' advantage to some degree. And then Luka, look, say what you will about Luka. I know we both have some criticisms of him, and there are some fair criticisms of him. But when he's rolling downhill offensively, he's as hard to deal with as any player of the last 15 years or so. And he just had it rolling in some games in that series. Kyrie hit big shot. Kyrie took it as a challenge to be in, to step up. And that's like, the Timberwolves were bullies that year. They physically beat the shit out of Denver to get in that final series, that West final series. They manhandled Jamal Murray. They punked him, owned him. Their perimeter guys were beasts defensively, but Luka and Kyrie just weren't about it in that series. Like, they tried to do the same to Luka and Kyrie, but they just got the better of them. In basketball, Gary, the reason why I love basketball so much is because I'm an offensively minded person in general. And basketball to me is the only sport where truly great offense will always beat great defense. Now, we don't see it very often because really good or high level or great defense typically does trump good elite offense or even great offense at times. I mean, we see it routinely with the Denver Nuggets. They're a great offensive unit in the regular season, and they routinely get shut down in the playoffs. But individually, I mean, like when Kobe Bryant was going against a dug-in elite defender, an elite defensive team, like if he truly had it rolling, like there's just no accounting for that. There's no answering it. And Luka, when he's got it rolling, like you just can't stop that dude. So I just feel like the Timberwolves were disheartened in some degree because Luka they couldn't get a handle on him. And I think they just gave up. That's the problem with the Timberwolves. They are great front runners and they have great athletes, great defensive guys, great dogs. Anthony Edwards has an alpha mentality. There are things to really enjoy and like about the Timberwolves, but they also have low character at times and they get discouraged and they quit if you hit them back in the mouth. Not a lot of teams have the capability to hit them back in the mouth. But like when the Thunder beat them in that game 4, they just quit. They gave up. And when Luka sprayed a game winner on them at one point, I think it was like 2-0, and Luka hit like some crazy game winner, and they just crumpled. So maybe it was game 2. The Timberwolves came out and gave everything they had in game 2. Let me get. I want to get that right. I want to make sure I get that right. Yes, Dallas beat them 109-108. So Dallas beat them 108-105, tight game in game 1, and then Luka sprayed that crazy game winner in like Gobert's face in game 2 at the buzzer, 109-108. So like very highly competitive, those two games, but they were both in Minnesota. Like they were the 3 seed that year, Gary. Minnesota was the 3 seed. Dallas was the 5. So Dallas was the underdogs there. And they got both those games. They went and stole game 1, 108-105, and then Luka jacked that 3 right in Gobert's face, and then they just quit. Like they lost 2 games at home and they just quit. There's no fight in them. Like they bullied and beat the shit out of Denver in games 1 and 2. And Jokic had the character and the heart to drag them into a game 7 after getting blown out in games 1 and 2 at home in Denver because Jokic has character and heart. He just doesn't have a good team. The Timberwolves have a great team, no character, no heart. They just quit. When they got punched in the mouth in those first 2 games, they just quit because while Ant-Man is that alpha, he's also has no character. Like the dude dances around at half court when he's winning, and then he slinks off in the tunnel with 20 seconds left and doesn't shake anyone's hand when he's losing. He's classless. And maybe it's just youthful exuberance and immaturities. And maybe he's going to get better moving forward. But those are the reasons why I talk shit on Anthony Edwards. People think I'm just being a hypocrite or I don't like him because they own the Nuggets. No, I don't like him because he's classless when he's losing. He's a front runner through and through. And that whole team is a front runner. So like that, to answer your question, Gary, that's why I think they just underachieve in those last 2 series, both the last years, because they have no class and character. They have elite athleticism, elite defense, elite talent, great roster construction. They're just frankly better than a lot of teams. So they don't play like in the regular season at all. And then they get into the playoff setting and then they roll teams that look like they should be favored because those teams actually try hard in the regular season while Minnesota doesn't. But then when they do get against a team that has similar talent and they get punched in the mouth, they run away like bullies typically do. Okay, lastly, we've got Franco, the Italian in. What is up, Franco? Shout out to you in the UK. He just says hi from the UK, guys. Franco, hi to you. Again, I love the international appeal and feel that the Skap Live After Darks have. Love to hear from you guys in all these different markets around the world outside of the U.S. And I'm so thankful for you guys tuning in wherever you're at. And in this case, Franco in the UK, salute to you, my friend. And salute to all of you guys. We had, we got Ruthless Raider in again. Sorry, we've got another one in. Ruthless Raider. Go ahead, Gary. I'll let you read this one, even though I want to. I'm going to give you this one so you can say LeShart.
Another solid show. Have a good one, fellas. Hashtag LeShart.
Love it. Ruthless Raider. I love your ongoing efforts here. I really do. And like I was trying to say there just before he slid that one in, love all you guys. We had around 500 people in tonight, 400 still. Good retention in these live streams, guys. Still 400-ish in here after around the 3-hour mark. We just went over the 2 o'clock mark here on the East Coast. I agree. I echo Ruthless Raider. Another good show. Not extraordinarily compelling games tonight. Kind of a blow, not quite a blow. It was, the Pistons were blowing out the Cavs, and the Cavs made it tight, and then the Pistons kind of held on and ran away with it at the end. And then the Thunder show up with their C- game against the Lakers in the second round of the NBA playoffs and get an 18-point win. Probably more of that coming down the pike in that series. Tomorrow night, I'm expecting 2 very competitive games tomorrow night. I think the Sixers are going to come out with a lot more energy and focus in that game 2 in New York. And then I really think we're going to see, I think the narratives around Victor Wembanyama for the last 2 days, him stewing on that bad game. I think we're going to see a beast come out in Wemby and the Spurs tomorrow night. I think they are going to now punch back. They're going to punch. I just spoke about the Timberwolves and what happens when they get punched in the face. They're going to get punched tomorrow night in the face. We'll see what kind of response the Timberwolves have for that in that game and then moving forward later in that series. The games are relatively earlier tomorrow again, 7 p.m. and 9:30. Probably try to get on tomorrow as well. Don't want to make any full commitment, but I'm going to try to do it, Gary. I did not get much sleep, Gary. It's like 3 hours of sleep last night. No nap today for me. 2 videos in addition to this live stream. I appeared on Whitlock. I worked out. I walked my dog multiple. It was a big, busy day. I'm very tired. So I'd like to try to catch up on some sleep tonight and try to get on tomorrow, Gary. But I think, did you want to add something as well here before we sign off?
Yeah, I just wanted to plug this new video that I made, the one you watched about Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith. and their terrible first round predictions just to showcase what clowns they have over there on ESPN. I just put a link in the chat. It's a new video I just made. I thought some of you may like it.
Yeah, good. It was a good video. I watched the video. I watched the whole video. It was a solid video, very well edited, very funny, good drops. And yes, terrible reads and takes. And nobody is beyond, none of us are beyond or above terrible takes. Like, I'm wrong a good amount of times. But when you are, you just are. Like, you just have to say you are. Like Kendrick Perkins, to Gary's point, he's been picking the Spurs to win the NBA championship for like 2 months. And they lost one game yesterday by 2 points. And now he has them losing this series. Like, bro, I'm as big of a doomsdayer as there is, but like, stick with your pick for a little bit, for at least till they lose game 2. So yeah, well, that'll be interesting to see. If they win, Gary, if they win by 30 tomorrow, I wonder if Kendrick comes out and says, okay, I'm back. I now again repick the Spurs to win the championship this year. So yeah, good video by Gary. Gary kept all the receipts for sure on that one. And Stephen A. Smith is another serial flip-flopper. So yes, check that video out. Check out Gary828. Give him a view, give him a sub. Guys, as always, please do make sure that you are subscribed with notifications turned on here as well to stay up to date with all things NBA playoffs with me. Until next time, guys, have a great night.